on the play by Prevalent. Got his receiver downfield. That's Bobby in his.
If he has good technique, he will be elite. If his technique becomes great, not just good, then he's a Hall of Famer.
Going down again. It's Q. Red Williams.
Fighting through contact, fighting through offensive line, being a double team, multiple moves stacked into one, just a play of pure domination. This is actual film, this is actual football talk. It's a football show, we're supposed to talk football, not storylines.
There's an internal moment of conflict there because I have both Kyle Smith and Nania with me. So I didn't know if I should put the one with Kyle Smith on there because then I'm kind of throwing away Nania's name. So I just did the generic one to not make anybody feel not included. So Kyle, I apologize, but we'll go to you first. What's up, man?
You should have done the one with Nania because at the end of the day, he's one of the co-owners. And
I don't have his name in there. We have to watermark his name into there too, I guess.
The Kyle one. I can be left out.
It's okay. So super excited, obviously, to talk about a Jets win and preview the game that is going live in 2 hours and 18 minutes. I'm going to hit it right from the bat. If the Jets win, I will be live streaming. It will not be until 4:00 in the morning, but I will be live streaming. If they're competitive, I might. We'll see. But it's funny how much a week can change, gentlemen. And we know this. We said that, it's going to be a roller coaster ride. I think the lows might be a little bit lower than we expected, especially with that Pats game. The Broncos game was pretty low, but we've stayed pretty baseline. I think we've stayed kind of in the middle where when it's really bad, we say, hey, listen, Joe Douglas has said this move and that move, and they're a young staff, and it's the youngest team in the NFL in terms of how many rookies they're playing. And then when they're good, we're like, listen, it might not be as good as you think it is. So I think we've been kind of in the middle. Last week, we probably dipped a little bit lower. But Nani, I actually have to get to you first, or actually to you second. I even asked you how you're doing, so let me do that. Nani, you're repping some more Jets gear than typical. The jersey's out, the hat's out. You're usually kind of generic, so you're feeling it too a little bit, huh?
Yeah, the energy's back, and it's crazy to be here after where we were a week ago. Probably one of the most embarrassing losses we've seen in the past few years. Now I got the backwards cap. I got my Moore jersey. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I think the last time I was actually in Indy, me and my friend Vinny went, who you guys actually both met in North Carolina. And that's when the Jets beat the Colts. Was that Monday Night Football that they beat the Colts?
Yeah.
When Revis got the fumble recovery? Yeah. Brandon Marshall had that big catch in the front pylon, dragging dudes into the end zone. So I might have to rep the Leon jersey later. I don't know. I might have to take that out because I was wearing the Leon. So Eugene, what's up? Assassin. He's been humming the intro music. That's exciting. That's exciting for me to hear that he hums the intro music. Verge, what's up? Yoshi, Jay, Andrew Golden's in here. Stoopy, Nix, Will, what's up? Nania, is that the new LDT jersey, which we'll talk about too. Joe Douglas fleecing other teams, stands tall again. But let's get into, I never even know where to start this, and we just start to flow after that. Let's start with Mike LaFleur. That's what we'll start with. Kyle, I feel like typically when you're on the stream, it's usually in a really shitty situation where Nania has gotten some of like the fruits of wins and some more positive things. I think, after the Titans game he was on, then we signed JFM. And then this week he's scheduled to be on after another win. So you don't really get to enjoy a lot of stuff, Kyle. So I guess we'll start with you because there's been a lot of negativity around Mike LaFleur, obviously, this season. And this is the first game where I think people are legitimately saying they've been impressed with Mike LaFleur. So what are your overall opinions about this game from Mike LaFleur? Should he stay in the box forever? Did he actually change? What did he change? Et cetera. We'll kind of take it layer by layer, but generically.
Okay. Yeah. So I wasn't expecting to be on the stream this week, and you are right that after we won last week, I was thinking like, damn it, only 2 wins this year. And both times it's Nania's week after wins, and I always get the losses. Mm-hmm. Not to mention I had to deal with your ass in person after both of those first 2 horrendous losses. You're right. But anyway, so I wasn't expecting to be on this week until you asked me a couple days ago. So I haven't finished the coach's film just yet. I'm almost done with it, but I think I saw some tweets from Vitor who's doing great work. I love Vitor. And I think he was saying like that something along the lines. And if I'm, by the way, if I'm misrepresenting what someone said, please correct me. But I think he was saying like, hey, listen, the offense wasn't changed all that dramatically. And I think by and large, he's right. But one thing that you and I were talking about prior to the stream starting was there definitely was some more trickery, gadget plays inserted in this game, design touches for more and stuff, which we hadn't seen enough of. And thing I was saying was that I think from LaFleur's standpoint and the coaches, they realize that Mike White is obviously much more of a limited quarterback in terms of the throws that he can make and his mobility and athleticism and stuff. So we got to find ways to kind of scheme some offense and stuff. And then when I said that, you said, well, my problem with that is Zach is still very much learning the NFL game. So you should do more of that stuff to help him out. To which I replied to you saying, exactly. This is what the Patriots are doing with Mac Jones. And the Patriots have always been a pretty good trick play team and stuff, but they're doing a lot more of it this year with Mac Jones, young rookie quarterback, than they were when they had Tom Brady at the helm for as many years as he was. So Mike LaFleur is certainly better. We like to see that stuff. I wouldn't say huge dramatic changes, but in football, which is a game of millimeters, like that's a Joe Blewett quote right there. Little tweaks can make all the difference.
Mm-hmm. Nania, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it was dramatically different in terms of the concepts and everything, but just his approach was different. The willingness to run those trick plays, the willingness to come out pass heavy on the first drive. And then throughout the game, they continue to be really pass heavy, and they have been a pass first team this year, but really only because they've gotten down so early in all these games. In the first quarter, they've been the most run heavy team in the league, or one of the most. But in this game, is very pass heavy. Then when Josh Johnson comes in, he sticks with the pass, which I thought was a huge sign of confidence from LaFleur. I like that they did that, even though it was nothing crazy. I think he threw a screen, a dump off, just the fact that they trusted him to do that, I liked. So I think his confidence, his aggressiveness was different and improved. But for the most part, it was, a lot of the same concepts that were just executed better. And I think his ability to be aggressive and be confident came from Mike White executing it better and putting them into positions where they could be in second and medium and not have to pay in third and short and be able to do that. So it was a little bit of both. I think LaFleur was a lot better in terms of his aggressiveness, creativity, situational calls. But at the same time, White, I think, executed a lot of the stuff Wilson wasn't a lot better.
Yeah, and there's some stats that I wrote down for when I did the film show, but 32 first downs, I believe it was, tied for the third most in franchise history, most since 1986. 78 plays, 6.6 yards per carry. But yeah, passing early, definitely saw that. Saw more aggressiveness on the first drive. I saw more screens. I saw more not draws, actually, crack tosses, jet sweeps, the Philly special, the throw to Crowder, which threw to Jeff Smith, which got the PI. And then you had the throw to, or the handoff to, no, the throw to Carter back to White, and then a throw to Crowder. Like we didn't see a lot of that stuff with Wilson. Like we saw some of it, but it was pretty rare, to be honest. So he definitely changed in terms of his aggressiveness and his kind of trickery. And like you said, though, like White did execute it better. He was definitely quicker to take his check down. And we'll talk about White versus Wilson. I know there's controversy and all that stuff about how many more games does White have to play like that for it to be a legitimate controversy in terms of him starting
a
over
lot
Wilson?
More. He'd have to play a ton more games.
A lot more. But overall, I definitely I was happier with what he did because, again, like we were asking for weeks now, specifically, I know you were highlighting a lot that the Jets are always running on first down in the first quarter. Like you need to change it up because, like I said, these guys have these analytical departments. They see that. And they're going to start biting on the run in the first quarter because of how much you're running on first down in the first quarter. And then they changed it, more aggressive, more pass happy. I don't chart, and I should do this, even though I just don't have the time to do it. There's no way. But it felt like at least to me, or maybe at least a lot more effectively, They had a lot more plays of empty and 11 personnel than they did with tight ends. I don't know what the numbers bear that out, Nania, but it felt like they were a lot more light this game.
Yeah, Nania, please give us those numbers.
And they tended to use their receivers more than their tight ends in this game. At least that's what I remember seeing. Just because
I haven't checked the personnel yet, but the personnel might not have been that much different. But like the empty sets, I think there were definitely a lot more of those. I haven't checked the numbers yet, but I definitely noticed the same thing.
Yeah. What's up? Go New York, go New York, go. Because he says I don't say his name right, even though his handle is literally go NY, go NY, go. Assassin says Kylie Naroche, Joe on his pick'ems. My mom can make better picks. I think he's like 2 games above me and he's talking shit, but that's what he does. He's 21 years old, so he's immature, just like Nania. Let me see. Assassin is 3 games above me. He's talking stuff that his mom can make better picks than me. So we'll see. We have a lot more to go.
He has the most trash team in our 18-team fantasy league, and he's talking a lot of shit.
Nick said Nania got a mini shout out on one of the Can't Wait podcast a couple of streams ago for what he posted on Twitter. I'm sure Nania gets a ton of shout outs because he's the stats guy of Jets Twitter, and he's like 17,000 followers. Of course he's gonna get shout outs. I think Nania's used to it now.
And there are probably lots of people out there, big media people,
who use stats and don't credit them. Yeah.
Exactly.
100%.
You knew exactly what I was gonna say.
Oh, there's plenty of people who take other people's stuff and don't credit that. Well, that's a conversation off air, but we've seen that quite a bit. What's up?
Hey, by the way, another JetX great, Andrew Golden said that Mike White was executing play fakes a lot better than Zach Wilson, and
he was, but there's also a couple play fakes where he didn't really execute it well. So I think it was better, but it's not like it was.
Overall, definitely better for sure.
Yeah.
I can't think of one where he didn't execute it or didn't sell it really well. Maybe you might want to point one out to me. I'll see it when I see it.
It's on the film review. It was 75 plays. Like I don't label it specifically. Didn't sell out.
But I will say that Zach, in terms of play fakes, they were getting worse as the weeks were going on. So as he was, struggling a little bit more and I guess overthinking things too much and maybe losing a little bit of confidence, you started to see him sell his play fakes a little bit worse.
Shay asks, why is that bad there? Easy throws. He's having trouble reading defenses right now. There's more concern or also White's 3rd or 4th year. Shay, appreciate you being here, but I have no idea what you're asking there, buddy. Nani also has a lot of highly uploaded posts on our NFL too. I guess it's Reddit NFL, right? Nani always gets props from me. Yeah, so we all like what and obviously when we want to see LaFleur do this, and like you said, Kyle, you kind of laid it out perfectly. Like I get that he maybe try to throw some more trick plays into there because again, he didn't necessarily trust Mike White. But at the same time, I said I don't want Zach to be thrown into the deep end initially. I feel like he was where they didn't really help him out a lot. And a lot of these games too, like the Panther, like he's getting a lot of shit right now, Zach Wilson. And obviously, yes, did Mike White look better than Zach Wilson did in any game this year? 100%. Did Mike White look better than any quarterback in the last pretty much 10 years look for the Jets? I would say
you
yes,
think so? You probably you would take Mike White in this game over Zach Wilson Titans game?
Yeah. Yep. I would take him in this game. The only game I would say that might be better than this is, and people again, I'm not trying to be biased towards anything. You're gonna be able to tell by this answer. The Texans game, the Packers game from Sam Darnold are probably better than this game for me overall.
Oh no, that's fair. That's fair. But hold on, I have to challenge you on that point a little bit though. I mean,
continue. Good.
Like Mike had some nice throws. Like there was a couple what was it? Like he threw like a dig route to Keelan Cole. I was like, okay, that's an NFL throw. There were a couple of times where like, okay, that's a good throw. That's a good throw. But there were no, wow, okay, that's special throws. And so much of it was just.
It depends on how much value you're putting on that special throw though, because Zach Wilson in that same Titans game, had he made those special throws, was also missing throws that could have ended the game pretty easily.
I know that, but I'm just saying like, okay, Zach in time, Zach's going to be making those throws. There's no question. So some people in here are worried, oh, Zach was missing those. You really think Zach Wilson, who can be very, very accurate, is going to continue to miss those throws later on in his career with that much frequency?
No, but that's not what we're getting into. You asked me which was the more impressive performance.
Okay, but I think a lot of Mike White's so-called great performance, 405 yards, is just Cincinnati playing bad defense and not making proper adjustments. So how much do you credit Mike White, which you give him a good amount of credit, but how much do you also criticize Cincinnati at the same time?
There are so many layers to this argument.
And plus, Mike White got a lot of help from the teammates too. I mean, how many tackles did Michael Carter break in this game?
Dude, I tweeted that like during the game. Like Michael Carter has broken every tackle since the womb. Like the guy went down on first tackle this year. Dude. Like I don't even know. Like the guy is ridiculous.
Dude, I was watching that game and I don't know. Everyone calls him Mike Cole. I just call him Mike. I just kept shouting Mike Carter every fucking time he got the ball. And my wife doesn't even know. She's like, I keep hearing you say Mike Carter. He was fucking amazing, man.
But yeah, no, if you're asking like what game was better, I think if you take Mike White from this game, he plays just like he did this game, he could beat the Titans. You know, like that game, the highs were really high for Zach Wilson, but he also had some really low
Is Mike
lows.
White making that touchdown pass to Corey Davis?
Is Mike White making the throw to Ryan Griffin? We could have walked in for a touchdown in overtime.
Yes, he is.
Is he making that throw to Corey Davis on an out route for third down to seal the game?
Yes, he. Well,
okay.
Well, probably.
Is Mike
White
making
make
the
a
decision?
terrible out route throw against the Patriots?
Okay, the throw that Zach Wilson made, and trust me, in no way, I don't want the chat to get confused. In no way am I saying Mike White's a better quarterback than Zach Wilson. Do not get that twist. No, there will be people like, oh, Joe's an asshole. He thinks Mike White's better. That throw that Zach Wilson made where he's rolling out to the right and throws a bomb to Corey Davis that he got lucky there was a pick on when there was somebody wide open across the middle. I think it was Keelan Cole on like a 15, 20 yard over route was wide open. He skips that for whatever reason and throws it a contested ball. He got lucky. There's a PI on, you know, like there's definitely been concerns and that game was good because of the highlights, but the lows were still pretty low for me. So Mike White,
this is like the conversation that I've had when I was like with myself looking at this performance. It's like, how do you value the consistency of what he did versus, you know, how many plays did he make where he went above and beyond? Because his consistency was great, obviously, in this game, Mike White. Like there were not many plays where he left that much out there, but what he was doing was fairly easy. All he was doing was dumping it off, checking down. He didn't have to make tough throws. So how do you value that versus like the Texans game you mentioned for Darnold? Like in that game, was he as consistent as Mike White? Did they win? Did he get as many yards? No, but he also made 5-6 more throws than Mike White made in this game that were far better than anything Mike White did. So it's like balancing consistency and smart decision making versus money throws and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I said like in the review too, like there's like a really fine blend between when to just take those checkdowns and then when you need to make those kind of big shots. And Wilson needs to learn that a little bit. And there was definitely some plays this game where you'd see Wilson not take that check down or not go quickly through his reads. And he highlighted, I think it was after the Broncos game, but he specifically said like the way I'm supposed to go through my reads, like, okay, I'm supposed to be by the top of my drop or the top of my drop. I'm supposed to be through my first and second read or through my first read. And then my second hitch, I'm through my second and third read, whatever it was. And he said, sometimes I have to learn to speed up those reads based on what the defense is giving me. And we saw White specifically, based on some pressure looks, just go right to his second or third read.
Was it Zach or Mike that said that?
It was Zach who said that after. I think it was like the Broncos game maybe. He said he has to learn how to speed up the process. And I thought White did a really good job versus pressure looks, versus, you know, blitzes, replacing the blitz, speeding up his process, getting it to his check down, letting his guys make plays in space. So White was really good. Now the argument in terms of like that his arm strength, his talent, like, you know, listen, I don't want to get into this conversation. It's only been one game, but like White is a type of guy who is a lower tier athlete. So the best you're going to get is like, who's like a lower tier athlete, who's a good, like Kirk Cousins, you know, like, okay, he could be a Kirk Cousins type quarterback where if you really develop Zach Wilson, we were going through the quarterbacks a couple of weeks ago. I think both Nani and I, one podcast and then our one live stream, and then you and I, Kyle, in another one, we were saying the throws he was making the Tennessee game. There's only probably about 6 or 7 quarterbacks who could make some of those throws. Plus his athleticism, like some of the plays that Zach Wilson was seeing against the Panthers, where he was dodging multiple defenders. There's no way that Mike White can do that. So it's about, you know, the ceiling, and obviously Zach Wilson's the number 2 overall pick. He's going to get the job back. Now, depending on tonight, do you rush him back? Do you rush him back versus the Bills, or maybe he sits that week? You know, I should not. Nina, what are your thoughts about that? So I guess it depends on how he performs tonight, but if he performs okay tonight and Zach's ready to go for the Bills game, do you kind of give him that extra week? Like, okay, hey, listen, the Bills are like the top team in the AFC right now. You don't want Zach Wilson coming in a situation where Mike White has been playing obviously one elite game or very, very good game, and then one okay game. And now you bring him back versus the Buffalo Bills, and you know what's going to happen at MetLife. If he throws a pick or two, people are going to be chanting White. Like it just is what it is. That's how MetLife is. That's how Jets fans are. That's how New York fans are. Do you give him that extra week to bring him back versus a much shittier Dolphins team? Which, by the way, Kyle, I think it was you and I who went over the roster of Miami and said they're a little bit too highly rated for how good their roster is. But that's a story for a different day. And we'll get to the chat in a little bit too, because there's a lot of stuff in here. But what are your thoughts about that? Like, do you give Wilson that extra week if he's ready versus the Bills, depending on how Mike White plays? Like, what is that level?
Yeah, for me, I think in terms of avoiding the Bills, I get that argument, but I don't feel like NFL teams look at it that way. I feel like that the quality of the opponent doesn't matter as much to them as we might see it. So I feel like they didn't put him on IR. They think he can be back for next week against the Bills. So I think he will be ready to play depending on how White does in this game. So if White plays okay or worse, I think you go back to Wilson. If he has another kind of like how he played against the Patriots. If he plays at that level or worse, go back to him. But if he has another game of that caliber and they win, the Bengals caliber, then I think, you stick with him until he struggles and you have a quick hook and you pull him out as soon as he starts struggling. Go back to Wilson whenever that happens. But like you said, if White is hot and they win this game, it's just not a fair position to put Zach into in front of 2 straight home games. Like you said, the Bills, tough team, they're probably going to be losing. So it's not going to be fair to him because he's going to keep struggling, which is fine because we expect that. And he's going through his bumps. And there are going to be calls for Mike White. He already got booed in his first home game. Obviously, he bounced back from it in the next one against the Titans. So that wouldn't be a fair
game. I think he got some boos, or the offense got boos after their first 3 and out too. And after he got picked, they got booed too.
So I don't think it would be fair to put him back out there if they win this game and White plays well. If they win and White isn't good, which I don't really see that scenario because I think Colts offense is playing well, the defense isn't playing great for the Jets. Then you can go back to him. But if they win, White plays good, like you could say legitimately, he was good. Then I think you roll with him until he struggles.
Kyle, what are your thoughts? One, because I don't know if we really hit necessarily on Mike White yet, and we kind of veered towards a conversation of White and Wilson. What are your thoughts on Mike White from this game, and then what is your kind of feeling on what Nani and I just discussed?
For me, it's all about what is Zach's health. If Zach is 100%, you play him next week.
Yeah, don't rush him back.
If he's 90, 95, don't play him. But if he's got no limitations, I really don't care how good Mike White plays. You play Zach because Zach beat Mike White out in training camp. Now, I'm not saying they never really said it was a QB competition or anything like that, but this was Zach's team. He didn't lose his job because he was playing horribly. He lost his job because of an injury, right? And just because Mike White, some limited athlete, played deep, pretty well, Zach doesn't lose his job, right? People are really hyping up. Okay, yeah, his jersey went to Canton because he's the only player in his first start to have 37 completions and he had 405 yards. Yeah, but just look at the nature of a lot of those passing yards. And you tell me how Mike White played amazing in that game. Joe, I don't think you said it. I don't think we were recording yet, but you also brought up the near pick 6 on the wheel route, right?
That was a really bad play.
Think about how does the narrative of that game change if that ball goes back for 6 the other way? And he almost had a pick 6.
Could have been a touchdown, that throw, because Carter was wide open on that wheel.
Yeah, and the earlier interception, which I don't really blame the Michael Carter head interception so much on Mike White, but the first pick that Jesse Bates almost took back to the house, Mike White definitely needs some blame on that. That was not the most accurate throw in the world. So he almost nearly had 2 pick 6s in this game. Yeah, I know we're quibbling a little bit here. But there's
different levels of picks. That one, it was an RPO, and he read the linebacker who obviously came into the run fit. There's a funny chat in here. I'll get to the chat in a second. I'll get. I scrolled up to where I'm trying to get. Hold on. Let me see the super chat real quick, and I'll scroll back up. 100+ viewers, only 25. Look, what the hell, people? Oh yeah, let's go, Brendan. I didn't realize what that I knew what that meant before, but we were in the the heat of a live stream. So he said, let's go. I'm like, who the fuck is Brendan? I had no idea. And then I realized what that is. There's different level of picks. Like that pick with Crowder, like, yeah, it was an RPO. He pulled the ball properly. He threw it to Crowder. I think Crowder could have actually had a better release on that. I didn't like his release, to be completely honest. So it's a little bit on Crowder too. So he needs to put that ball like low and more on him than leading him and high. So yes, and then the second pick, like, okay, he throws it. Michael Carter, yeah, he should have put a little bit more air under that ball, gave him some more time to react instead of kind of darting at his head. The bad play was the wheel, because initially watching that, I thought, I don't know if everybody or Nania and Kyle, you've even seen the all 22 version of that, but it's like, it's not about the underthrow. It's about the throw in general, because you can't throw that versus cover 3 unless the outside third is occupied. It was cover 3. And I think it was the corner who was the deep third was staring at that play, and just based on how it is, it was like a snag or like a quick stop with the wheel behind it. You can't throw that because it's not occupying the deep third. If that was like a post, let's say if it's like a 3-man concept and it was a post by the 1, and then like the snag with the wheel, okay, that might work. But you can't throw it with the number 1 who's going to be occupying the deep third. If anything, now that's going to pull him up towards that snag, that curl, whatever the route is. And now he's just staring at Mike White and he throws it anyway. That ball was going to get deflected or picked no matter how he threw that ball. So it was just not a good decision. So he did not read that defense well at all. And then again, the sack that he took where he ran out of bounds was a bad decision. We talked about it before the stream. Croft was wide open.
Shades of Darnold in Buffalo. Week 1 last year. Croft
was wide open in that play, and initially it looks like, okay, well, his head wasn't turned around. He can't just throw the ball and not expecting it. And I highlighted that in the review. And then you look at it, and Mike White could have easily held the ball for another second or two because he was so wide open and just lofted it to him, and it could have been an easy completion. He took a sack. So, like, yeah, he had a couple of bad plays, but overall, he was still really effective getting through his reads, his accuracy. He looked pretty poised, in terms of the situations he was in, down. We're the first team, right, this year to come back from double digits down in the fourth quarter. I think he's the only quarterback in like the last how many years to come back from 11 down with 5 minutes left.
Shout out to Shaq Lawson.
Yeah, Shaq Lawson. Yeah, he had 2 pass deflections in that game. Do you guys want to hit on anything else?
Well, hold on. So let me just wrap up the point that I was making. So here's the deal. If Zach's 100%, and Nania, you made a great point that NFL teams don't necessarily look like it. You can't play scared in the NFL. Oh yeah, Buffalo's a big bad menace. They've had a good defense for many years. Oh, what if we rush Zach back and he goes and he plays against a big bad old defense? You're being a bitch. You can't be a bitch in the NFL. All right. Like, so if Zach's 100%, you play him. Here's the thing. If Zach's 100% and you don't play him, now you're actually creating this QB controversy narrative. Right. And you don't want to be in that position. This is Zach's team. Zach was voted a captain. You picked him 2nd overall. If you don't play him and he's 100%, now you're creating that QB controversy. And listen, I don't know. Like, I know journalists, they're paid to, listen, the New York Daily News employed Manish, Mr. King of the clickbait stuff. They employed him for many years. DJ, I know a lot of people like him. I'm not necessarily hating on him. I didn't even read his article, but I know he wrote some piece that said something like the Jets genuinely do have a QB controversy. Now, I didn't, like I said, I didn't read the article. So maybe there's a lot of nuance in there. Maybe, I don't know, but that is a bullshit clickbaity headline. There is no QB controversy. Mike White would have to play amazing for many, 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 many weeks. And it's like, DJ, did you just forget about, did Mike White play great in New England? Because I don't think he did, because he had 2 horrible interceptions in that game too. Horrible interceptions. Would
it be the most Jets thing though in the world that they draft a quarterback at number 2 and then Mike White ends up being the quarterback of the future, drafted in 2018 5th round pick, cut like 10 times by the Jets on and off the practice squad? That'd be the most Jets way to success. But let me get to to the chat a little bit before we get to some other things. I don't want to, again, the White and Wilson stuff. It's I'm sure we're getting into it later in the chat anyway. But it's talked about a lot, so we don't have to keep hitting on it. Going to the top, Mr. Tudor, appreciate it. Nice beard coming out of nowhere. Yeah, not like Kyle's, but it's coming. It's coming. It's just a goatee. I can't get the sides really, so I shaved that a little bit.
No, that's what you think. And if you actually started letting it grow, you'd see that you could.
I don't know.
I thought the same thing. Man.
Kyle, you got like a full like
no,
beard.
But I'm telling you, and I have I know my facial hair like looks like I have very ginger beard, even though my hair is not like that. It's weird. But like when my facial hair is short, you can't really see it that well because it's light color.
Oh, it's
but
patchy?
Once I start, it's a little patchy too. When you start letting it grow more, it'll fill, man. You just gotta let it grow.
Low center of gravity. We've been saying it all year, Joe. Yeah, that's in terms of that. That's with Michael Carter, because I said on Twitter, one of the most dumb arguments you're ever going to hear is, oh, he's too small to be a good running back. Like, what does that mean? He's too small. If anything, again, said in the review, go watch it. If you guys knew nothing about a running back, nothing, absolutely nothing, what school he came from, his rushing yards, anything like that, you had to pick them just based on this. Would you rather take the running back who's 5'8" or 6'2"? Who are you gonna take? Or 6, even 6 foot? Who would you take?
Wait, sorry, can you ask your question one more time? I was reading the chat.
You know nothing about a running back. You're drafting him in the 4th round. You're taking a guy who's let's say 5'8", Michael Carter, or 6'1". Who are you gonna take just based on height? Who would you rather have in terms of a running back prototype?
5'8", and I would think that a lot of successful running backs are more in the 5'8" category than the 6'1" category.
Kyle, I got you here, buddy. Hold on.
And I listed a bunch of running backs in our last stream. I was like, Arian Foster, Eddie George, and Derrick Henry. Dude, they're the exceptions. Not
Barry Sanders, 5'8". Maurice Jones-Drew, 5'8", but he's probably like 5'7", 5'6". Emmitt Smith, 5'9". Priest Holmes, 5'9". Work done, 5'9". So he can't be successful because he's short. Like, if anything, again, low center of gravity. You're behind guys who are 6'5". It makes them really hard to find behind the line of scrimmage. Look at why Darren Sproles is really successful in the NFL. He's more of like a scat back, but nonetheless, like he's too short to be. I think that comes from people just not really understanding traits and just hearing that short quarterbacks can't be successful in the NFL, so short running backs can't be successful. But that's a really, really dumb argument. So, but continuing to move on through the chat, there's a lot of Zach stuff. Zach is the future. Yes, Zach is the future. Yoshi says Zuniga's getting another sack tonight. Book it. I'll put some money on that.
Yoshi, Zach is spelled Z-A-C-H, not Z-A-C-K. Seen it too many times. You've said it like that.
Kyle's getting mad at Yoshi.
I'm not mad at Yoshi. I'm just correcting him. Like, one time, okay, it's a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes, but
yeah. Somebody mentioned that. Jay mentioned that hopefully Huff's injury is not that serious. Went on IR today, which was surprising because when did he get injured? Nani, do you know when he got injured?
I don't know if it was during that game. It might have been in practice. I don't remember him leaving the Patriots game. I could be wrong though.
D-Mars says Mike White has a massive underrated arm. He's accurate as hell and decisive. You saw it in the Pats game too. He's decisive. He's accurate.
Decisive for sure.
But his arm is not good. It's accurate, but good comes more with velocity and how far he can throw a ball. And his arm.
He's got this like power, over the I wouldn't say it's like slow, but like he's got this really over the top type of delivery, which kind of takes a little bit of while and stuff.
Yeah, no, it's not the strongest arm in the world.
Somebody said in the chat that he's like, sets his feet better and stuff. Like, yeah, he kind of has to do that. Like, he's one of these guys, and this is, I'll give him credit where it's due. This is the thing that Arlovsky always used to stress. Like, there are some guys that like can kind of just make throws from, with bad feet and stuff, which Darnold can do and Zach can do. Mike White, like he's got pretty good footwork and stuff in terms of setting his hallway and things like that. He needs to do that. He's not going to make throws the way that Zach can. So he needs to be really precise.
Yeah,
with his footwork like that.
He's better at like setting his lead foot and like actually opening up to where he's throwing it and like getting himself pointed. There was some step in the buckety type plays though from him too. So it's not perfect. And he tends to be a little bit like Tozy, and like he almost leans back and out of some throws. I didn't really go over a lot of like the mechanics of his throws this week because I did a 4-hour freaking film review of him. So if I went over every little detail, then we'd be here for a 10-hour review. I don't want to do that. But Jarrett, I'll transition this into the game a little bit. Again, with these things, we bounce around so much because and I'll ask Nani this first, because we bounce around there's so many chats we bounce around from the Colts game to the offense to the defense to whatever. He says the Jets D-line will feast tonight. Nani, what are your thoughts on that? And with that, because I know what your answer might be, minus the quarterbacking position for the Jets, is the D-line the most important part of this game because of the Colts' strength in their offensive line? So the defensive line doesn't perform. You're going against a guy like Jonathan Taylor. If they don't play well, we might be, excuse my French, we might be fucked.
Yeah. And in terms of pass protection, I feel like the Jets have some advantages. Obviously, Quentin Nelson, Braden Smith, very good. But the other guys in their O-line haven't been that great in terms of pressures allowed. Eric Fisher at left tackle is up there, top 5 among left tackles. Lewinsky at right tackle, even Kelly at center. So they do have some holes in the passing game that they can exploit. But the run game is obviously dangerous, and they've been getting killed on the ground this year by pretty much. I wouldn't say they've had a really good run defending game. Maybe the Bengals actually was their first. They did a decent job, but they've had a tough time on the ground this year. Taylor's been having a great season, so that's going to be huge, stopping that ground game.
Yeah, I don't know who it was with. I don't know if it was one of you guys. I'm sure it was with one of you guys. I'm not sure which one. We said that this Jets defensive line, like we compared it to, I'm sure it was Kyle then, because we compared it to like 2015 and all these other teams. This is probably the best Jets defensive line in terms of pass rushing, but we said in terms of their run defending, it's not going to be what it was with Snacks and Sheldon and Wilkerson. They're a little bit light in the pants for that at times. So that's why you see them struggle a lot with the Pats, because they get double teams on the first level, and they really put the emphasis on linebackers. And obviously without CJ Mosley, your emphasis is on Quincy Williams and Del'Shawn Phillips and Blake Cashman and all that stuff. So it was pretty bad. But what's up, Ali? What's up, Joe, Kyle, Nania, all the Jets fighters? What's up, a consistent supporter? Shay says he always watches the videos. The first time he actually gets to stream. Hey, perfect. Again, I will promote it. If they win, I will be streaming after, and I will most likely be a lot deep, so we can have a lot of fun, stupid conversations, especially if they win. If it's a competitive game.
If they win big, Joe Blewett's going to do 4 hours afterwards.
The funny thing is I have stuff to do in the morning too, but I probably will. And then I don't have to like sleep for 5 hours because I have shit to do. But yeah, if they win, I probably will end up doing like until like 3 o'clock in the morning. Let's see. Do you guys like the uniform combo tonight? So Kyle, we've talked about this, and I know Nani is like one of the bigger uniform guys, and This is no offense to anybody who's never played football, but I feel like a lot of the people on Twitter who go, I don't care what the Jets wear. They just need to win the game. I couldn't give 2 shits less. A lot of those people, when
Scott Mason,
I find out, and I'm not targeting Scott, I'm not targeting anybody. A lot of those people who I've spoken to who don't care about the uniforms have never played like football or like sports, so they don't care about the uniform combos. But we talked about this before, Kyle, like picking the uniforms, getting the uniforms, picking your jersey number when you played football was one of the most exciting things you could possibly do. Like we love those days. So a lot of people like hate to talk about the uniform combos and all this stuff. I don't necessarily like, and I think we had a Slack. I don't know if it was Golden or one of those guys in there saying that there's not enough black in the white top to make the black pants look good, which I agree with. And I don't like that the stripes are opposite. I don't like that the wings on the jersey and then the vertical stripes in the pants. It just doesn't look right. So I don't necessarily love it, but I can tell you I like it more than green on or white on green, because get rid of that forever. But Nani, we'll let you go first because you're the big uniform guy. Do you like it? Obviously, you don't want to spend too much time on this, but we were asked. So
yeah, I mean, I like the black pants. I want them to try a combo with either just the black jersey or the black pants, and they finally did it. Like you said, I don't think this is an awesome combination. Kind of weird because the black is made to be black on black. It's not really made to be mixed with the other ones.
Yeah.
But I think it's better than the white on green for sure, because those are ugly. But I think it's solid. I think black jersey, green pants is the best combo that they haven't done.
Kyle?
Yeah, I did see some of you guys tweeting back and forth about like different potential combos and stuff before they officially said what the combo was going to be for tonight. And I did like the one that Nani had just said. I did think that would be the coolest. I didn't really notice what you said, Joe, about like the non-matching stripes and stuff. I'm sure in the game I'll look for that a little bit more and stuff. But yeah, uniform aesthetics are cool, and I could get into the stories from my playing days and stuff. But I'll say this:
back in my day,
most people really do care about what their number is and things like that. And like for me, I was number 51. The reason I was number 51 is back when I was a kid in high school.
Aaron Maven.
I should kick your ass for that statement.
Go ahead.
Jonathan Vilma. He was a beast back in the day, man.
Didn't Vilma wasn't he like hurt? Like they were like, it's like a game, like a really important game. Again, we have a lot of like older fans here. I always love them because they're always remember everything. But Wasn't it like a playoff game or a game to get into the playoffs where Vilma had like a minor finger injury and like sat out for that game and everybody lost respect for him? So are you just saying you're soft and you like to copy guys who are soft, Kyle?
I don't know if that story is true. I couldn't tell you. I didn't follow the team as closely back then, but
I need Hoof. I need somebody in here. I know one of those guys knows.
But I'll say this: you want to talk shit about Vilma? He went and won a Super Bowl in New Orleans, and that defense is pretty good with Greg Williams that year. Yeah, maybe they had the whole bounty gate stuff and stuff, but maybe we should allow bounties in the NFL. You know, the NFL is getting too soft.
Shay is saying, is there any way where Mike White plays like crap tonight and we still win tonight? No, there is no way that he plays like crap and we win. Beard gang. Yeah, Nani's rocking like a low cut, a low cut.
No, Mike White could play like crap. If Carson Wentz plays like Carson Wentz from last year, we would have a shot.
That is true. None of us can shave until the Jets win. That is very true. Kyle never shaves, but Nani is clean shaven sometimes.
I'll tell you. Hey, I'll tell you this right now.
Does he still have a beard tonight? Do we know that? Did he shave?
I'll tell you this right now. The Jets win the Super Bowl, I'll shave. I'm not saying it's going to happen this year, but if it happens next year or future year,
I don't know if you should do that for our friendship, Kyle. I feel like if you shave and I actually see your face, I might not like you as much. I feel like you have a weird chin. I don't know why, but don't do that.
I'll send you my junior year high school picture. I'm clean shaven. I actually recently hung it up in my classroom. My students get a kick out of it.
Yeah, but that's a lot of years ago.
It's been a lot of years since I've been clean shaven, bro.
Drew O'Neal, my fantasy team is all Jets, and I almost won last week. Yeah, well, what? I guess if you had Mike White as like a backup quarterback and you had Michael Carter, right? Those are the only two. And how many yards? Ty Johnson had a couple of catches and a touchdown. So I guess if you had those three in, then I asked as Jesus Christ saves. I don't know what that means. Iron sharpens iron. Eddie.
Someone's doing some missionary work in the chat tonight.
I don't know what that means. I'm at 6:34. What time is it right now? I'm about 9 minutes behind. I'm rolling through again. If I miss anything, I don't like to promote it all the time because it's money. But if you throw a super chat, I'll definitely get it to it. Kyle took me to grammar school. Sheesh. Yoshi's hurt by your hate, Kyle. AJ Boye message deleted. Okay, I don't know what that's about.
Constructive criticism.
JFM huge game. Nania, how do you feel? We broke the JFM signing.
Can I say something about JFM? What the hell happened?
Go ahead. Go skip Nania. Go ahead.
What? Yeah, no, but I want to ask you and Nania this question because I couldn't figure it out. There was one play in the red zone. JFM, he's rushing. I think it was the touchdown. It was the touchdown I was just telling you about, Joe. The touchdown to Boyd on the broken play. I think it was that play. JFM, like he gave up. He stopped rushing. Like he literally quit on the play. Like what did he get poked in the eye or something? Like because I mean. That's I guess a little bit understandable, but he completely gave up on the play. I've never seen that from him. Like, what the hell was that?
Is he turning into Muhammad Wilkerson? Nani, is that why he's not getting these stats? And I think he only has like 2 tackles and like a hit and no sacks since he's been given that extension. So what are your thoughts on JFM's recent play? Because again, when you're not getting paid and you're that waiver wire pickup, underdog story, it's nice when you get a sack every couple of weeks, but now when you're getting $13.5 million a year, you're expecting some play. So what's your stance on JFM right now?
Yeah, so the reason I'm not too concerned yet regarding the extension is that I think he was pretty good against the Falcons. He had a bunch of pressures, a couple of run stops. He was really good in that game. That was the first one after the extension. Since then, though, he's been really quiet. He only had 1 pressure the last 2 games. This game against the Bengals, he did nothing. And I remember the play that Kyle's talking about. I don't remember what happened. I just know that he kind of got moved inside. That's why Burrow was able to scramble and throw that touchdown. So he's been quiet, but it's only 2 games. And his pass rushers, it's like if you get 10 sacks in a season, that's a sack every 2 games, and everyone thinks you're great for doing that. So 2 bad games isn't the end of the world yet for me. But as it starts to trickle on, it is going to start to become a problem. He goes up against Braden Smith tonight, who's very good at right tackle. Mm-hmm. So the challenge for him to get back on track pretty quickly. Right now, not concerned, but if he goes a 3rd straight game tonight, could kind of start getting concerning because he's been really consistent. That's one thing about JFM. Last year into this year, like has not had many games where he did nothing, and now he's had a couple of those. So it is a little bit concerning. But if he can break it tonight, I think it would pretty much erase that.
Yeah. What do you think, Kyle?
Yeah, I mean every couple players, they have like, hot and cold streaks, and it's quite natural, that he'd be having a cold streak, and he was really consistent. And there a thing where sometimes players get paid and they kind of mail it in, but I don't think that's the case, especially, since this was an in-season extension. It's not like this is a guy who was, working really hard, got one in the off season, and then it's just, he just started partying in the off season. Like, no, he's still in season. He's still working. Question, is he dealing with an injury? I don't know. I'm asking the question.
Who?
Is he dealing with an injury? No.
Who are you talking about?
JFM.
I'm sorry. No, I don't think so. Vinny. Vinny just texted me if I want sushi. I'm like, dude, I'm drinking. You think I want fucking sushi right now? What is wrong? What is wrong with that kid? Yoshi said he can confirm that he didn't shave Salah. So great. No, I don't think he's dealing with an injury. Not that I know of.
Okay. I was just making, because sometimes that could affect how a player is playing. But I mean, other than that one play, it's not like I'm seeing low effort or anything like that. Doesn't look like he's less explosive or anything like that. He's just not winning. And
two out of 3 games, you do have to say, like, okay, the Falcons got the ball out really quick. I know the Pats didn't necessarily get the ball out quick, but I think some of that kind of comes with them getting the ball out quick at some points. And you
have to think a lot as a D lineman when you play the Pats, and when you're thinking a lot as a D lineman, it's going to slow down how you play.
A lot of screens, yeah. So I'm not gonna completely absolve him. But 2 of those games, it's not like he was playing, 7-step drop, 5-step drop quarterbacks. You're playing the Pats who screen you to death, who draw you to death, whams, traps, all that shit. So let's see. I definitely don't remember Vilma doing anything like that, Joe. John. Okay, so you're one of the old birds in the chat. You gotta figure it out for me, because it happened. Tony G said weird chin. Somebody, I think Jefferson Alamo said Smith never shave your beard ever. I don't know if you know who that is. I think
it's a student.
You have 2 students in here though, because there's another one who pops in here sometimes. You have 2 kids who listen.
Got more than that. Got more than 2.
Simon Reef says, "Hey guys, just subscribe. First time watching the live stream, but love your film study videos. Do you see the Jets offensive line playing well tonight? Thought they played their asses off Sunday." Kyle, hit that first one. Simon, appreciate you subscribing and this being your first live stream. Legitimately, if we can get 1 new subscriber every live stream, that's my goal. Just one, just one person, new person every week. But Kyle, offensive line, thoughts about it last week, and then playing well tonight.
I thought the offensive line played pretty good overall. Let's talk about AVT. I mean, what was the quote that came out this week that Robert Saleh every other day goes into Joe Douglas's office and thanks him for trading up? Dude,
such a bad trade up though. It was a really bad trade up. They should have just,
the analytics guys will keep saying that, right?
Whoa, Nani isn't here. Let's not do that to his face.
Nani is not. But Nani is not exclusively analytics though.
Yes, I know, and I credit him a lot for that, for the film stuff too. But they should have really just drafted. They should have held their pick. That Wyatt Davis was available, Darrisaw was available. The trade up for AVT was, I think, a really bad move, to be completely honest. So.
You could have drafted 2 borderline, inferior players that maybe you have some question marks about, rather than making sure that you get the guy that you love and know is going to be a good scheme fit.
You don't understand. A hole filled is a hole filled. It doesn't matter about the quality of the hole filled. As long as in their mock draft, a second round right guard or left guard is the same as a 14th overall left guard. You don't understand that. Every player is just as good no matter where you draft them.
Take a hole in the dirt and fill it with cement, and it'll be natural and fine and stuff. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, there's a stupid ass analogy, but but yeah, AVT, man, like, he looks good, man. Like, every time they pull, like, there was one play he had a pull, and I think what's the guy's name? Sam Hubbard knocked him on his ass. Moves well in space. When you see him in pass pro, they say with like defensive back play, when I was, once upon a time, I was actually a safety in high school, if you can believe it or not. Wasn't very good as a safety. I didn't become good until I started playing D-line, but have your head on a swivel, basic, football 101 that you teach to it, like a defensive back. But AVT, like, when you see him working in pass pro, he always has his head on a swivel, and he goes back to give support to the other linemen and stuff. Hold on. I know Becton's not playing. Is my Fant out tonight?
Oh yeah, actually, I don't know that. I didn't see him out.
I think he's questionable. He was limited in the last practice. I think he's playing. I haven't heard anything that said he would.
So I've been pretty pleased with Fant so far this season, but if Chuma plays tonight, that is definitely concerning. McGovern, like I said in the previous stream, bro, Jets fans give him way too much shit.
He did have that one really bad hold this week.
Which play was that?
I can't remember specifically. The one where he literally fell over and ripped the guy to the ground.
The bomb to Elijah Moore.
Yes.
Mike missed.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Moses has been okay, man. Like Moses is Moses. He's exactly what you see in Joe Blewett's second half of his film review from the Washington football team.
Average
last year.
He's average.
Yeah, he's fine. And GVR, he's really bad this year, and it doesn't get better on any given week.
Even though this game was his least bad game.
Yeah, and I think that might have something to do with the Bengals. I don't. You know who impressed me from the Bengals? I didn't know who he was, but if I'm watching a game and I pause it, I'm like, who is this guy? Usually that's a good thing. And I didn't know. I was like, 98 for the Bengals. Who's 98? And I think that's DJ Reader, right? Who was one of their big offseason signings, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. I'm not sure.
But he impressed me a little bit. But I don't think the Bengals defensive line is overall that good.
So what do you think about them tonight then?
Well, all right. So they have Buckner. They don't currently have last year they had the longtime Chiefs pass rusher. I'm forgetting his name. Huh? What would you say?
Justin Houston.
Yeah, he's not with them anymore, right?
No.
Who else is on the Colts D line? Help me out here, guys.
Kwity Paye, Al Quadin, Muhammad, Buckner, Grover Stewart, who's a good D tackle. And that's their starting defensive line.
I wouldn't say that I'm overly concerned. I don't know. How do you guys feel?
I guess it depends on where Buckner lines up. If he's a 3-tech over GVR, I'm concerned. If he's a 3-tech over ABT, I'm concerned. But last week, like, Fant was playing well. Again, everybody thought he was an absolutely terrible signing. Try to tell you he wasn't. Chuma in relief was good. Do I foresee him doing that for 2 weeks in a row based on his career? I do not. ABT, I would say that he's been very, very good this year. That game, he gave up more pressures than he has in the past. He definitely had a few bad plays that game, but overall still really good. McGovern, minus a bad player or two, he was pretty good that game. GVR, best of his bad play. And then Moses was pretty good. But this game, it depends a lot on if Fant plays, because I don't trust Chuma Doga to put games together consistently. So if it's Adoga and GVR, those are two pretty weak links in your offensive line, so I'd be a little bit concerned. But Nani, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think the O-line had its best performance by far last game. And AVT's been great. Like, you could see it from the first game. And first game he struggled in pass protection, but he's come along with that. But just the run blocking, how many different things he could do for you. It's not like he's just a power guy or just in space. Like, and any role they've given him, he's pretty much been executing all of it. So he's been great. But like you said, it's Edoga. Do we trust him? If he plays tonight, it's bad. We don't trust him to keep that going. But he did come in last game and feeling pretty well. But Fant playing, obviously, you trust him a lot more. But it'll be interesting to see what they do with LDT over the next few weeks. Is he going to come right in and replace GVR next game? Or are they going to wait until GVR struggles some more and then bench him? But I love that trade. They got LDT for absolutely nothing. And he's a better player than Greg Van Roten, at least based on the last time he played, which was 2 years ago. So we'll see what, if there's any concerns regarding rust. But he's a much better player than Van Roten. So I like that trade for sure. And in terms of the Colts defensive line, obviously the big threat is just Buckner. And that he'll probably mostly see AVT. He usually plays on the right side. He can do both, but he's leaned towards the right side pretty heavily of the D line. So it will mostly be AVT. So a really great test for him. I mean,
but
AVT's been great, but he had some good reps against Grady Jarrett. Cincinnati had DJ Reader. Tennessee had Jeffrey Simmons, but he never really faced any of those guys a ton in those games. So for him to get a lot of Buckner in this game will be his greatest test so far for sure.
But Nani, you're one of those analytical guys who wanted Wyatt Davis, right?
Yeah, Wyatt Davis could have put him in there. He could have got Kellen Mond in the third round.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Blewett, you talking about our last great pass rusher? I don't know, but Vilma wasn't a great pass rusher, was he?
No.
I thought I remember him being a little bit soft.
He could blitz better than CJ Mosley, but pass rusher, no.
Friegel D, what's up, man? Chilling. Let's see. Hot take: Foley doesn't get enough credit on the D line. Not a hot take.
Not a hot take.
Not a hot take. We say that every single person in this live chat, which is 3 of us, have said that. But
it's the nature of his position. You're playing that position, you're never going to get enough credit. But Joe, after you pointed out something about Foley, it was either in our last live stream or one of your most recent reviews, that he ends up on the ground a little bit too much for your liking. And after you said that, I started to notice that, and I noticed that a couple times in this Bengals game too.
Yeah, I don't know if it was week 1 or 2, but he was on his face a lot in that game. And I like Foley. I think he's legitimately probably the second or third best strict nose tackle. Don't bring up D tackles.
That first Pats game.
Was it a first Pats game? He was on his face a lot. Okay, so it was a week 2.
Shout out to JP, another student.
Another student. That's like 3 of them.
And he's a Giants fan too.
It's funny that the Jets and the Giants in the New York market are tied for I think literally tied for the worst record in the NFL the last 5 years. Am I correct? And I have Giants fans who like talk shit to me. I'm like, dude, we're just as bad the last 5 years, literally. And they're like, oh, well, what about 2011? I'm like, that was 10 years ago, bro. 10 years.
I don't know if I don't think he came up with this. My brother's got this line that he likes to use on people because the Bills never won a Super Bowl. So people start to talk shit about him with that. And my brother's like, if we're going to talk about history, why don't we just talk about Babe Ruth? So that's what JP, one time I was talking shit to him because I hate the Giants. That is my least favorite team in the NFL. Sorry, JP, I like you. I don't like the Giants. And he's like, yeah, but we got 4 Super Bowls.
He's like, we got 4 Super Bowls. You're his student. He's told me off air that he does not like you. I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay. Would have to confirm this on tape, but I wonder if teams are giving him more blocking attention after the extension. I haven't noticed that with JFM. I did notice that both times with the Pats games that they definitely do put their protection towards Quinnen Williams. Like when you watch him play the Pats, he gets double teamed a lot in those games. And that's generically with the entire defensive line, but in terms of their slides and stuff, they definitely slide towards Q. Injury, yes. Let's see. Joe looks a lot like Jax from Sons of Anarchy. He's blonde and has long hair. I don't think so, but I'll take it. I think Jax he's a solid dude.
I've never seen the show.
Really?
I'll say this.
I got Kyle to start Game of Thrones, by the way, but I know we're talking about football here, but that's a big development in my life. So
you were part of the inspiration.
I was the inspiration.
You were not the only inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you get some credit for that. No, in terms of your appearance, having the fade is a good look for you, although it does make you look like more of a cop.
Well, I have some bad news for you, Kyle. I am a cop. So
I'm just saying, if that's fine. What you're going for, then keep doing it.
Yeah, I know. Dominic DeBlasi, Elijah Moore equals breakout game tonight. Dominic, if you're still in here, because that was about 10 minutes ago, I want to know your stat line for Elijah Moore. That's going to be a breakout game. Nani, I'll hit you first. Elijah Moore, breakout game. Does it happen? What is his stat line tonight? You had to put, I don't know. I'm not going to put a number to it. What is your best guess with his stat line?
I can see a breakout game because these Colts corners miss a lot of tackles. And last week we saw that they're going to be more willing to feed him the ball, give him chances to make plays. So I can see, similar volume to last game. He had 6 targets, 6 catches. So let's give him the same number, 6 catches, but let's say he goes up to 90 yards this game. I'll put him there.
Wow.
Dude, And it's like so funny with Elijah Moore and just like stats in general. And Nani, I know you know this. I'm not offending you. It's like crazy. What was the stat line last week? 6 catches, 65 yards, or
67 yards. Yeah.
67. It's so funny that like people like, even though they know that on that one play he had a really good double move and burned the corner. I think it's like cover 6 or cover 4. And if he caught that, well, if Mike White threw that ball and obviously there wasn't a hold by McGovern, now his stat line is 7 catches for 105 yards and a touchdown. People would think that game was so much better than the game he had, just because of a play that the ball, again, was not on target and there was a holding. Isn't it just as good of a game? And this is why I always talk about process versus results, because that game should have been a 100-yard game, 7 catches, a touchdown. That was he played a really good game, Elijah Moore. But again, because that catch was not made for no fault of his own, people don't look at it as the same. Where if that catch was made, everybody was saying how great he was that game and it was his breakout game. So I think last game kind of was his breakout game. He just wasn't afforded a 40-yard touchdown that he should have had because he beat the corner by almost 10 yards. Donnie, go ahead. You're the stats guy.
Yeah, and he only played, I think, 40% of the snaps in that game. He really wasn't out there that much, but he was so good when he was that you noticed him as if he was starting. So I feel like his playing time could increase a little bit. I don't know why he's
less Jeff Smith and more Elijah Moore, please.
Dude, that bothered me too. Sorry, Donnie, to interrupt you. I wonder what you think about this too, because we talked about it in the Slack. I liked a lot of what Michael LaFleur did. But that one sequence near the goal line where they had to kick a field goal, they had Crowder, Moore, and Mims on the sideline, and the receivers. I'm fine with Cole being out there, but it was Cole, Jeff Smith, and Barrios for like back-to-back plays in the red zone. I'm like, what is going on here? Yeah, so continue on it.
That's mind-boggling. That's you overthinking stuff. Oh, we're gonna confuse them with this personnel grouping. They've never seen this before. Okay. Yeah. There's a reason why they haven't seen that one before. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Nania. Sorry.
But yeah, like you were saying, Joe, like that's the biggest problem with stats is that it doesn't necessarily tell you exactly how, like raw box score stats, doesn't necessarily tell you exactly what that player did. Because Elijah Moore, I think, is a great example of it this year. He's averaging probably like 20, 25 yards a game right now, but he's been beating people all season. He's been open. Wilson's been missing throws. White missed a huge throw in this game, which wouldn't have counted anyway because of the hold. But he still did his job and got open for a 50-yard touchdown. The ball wasn't there. So that's the biggest problem with stats. You always got to look a little bit deeper. And that's like what I try to do. I'll never just throw out a stat without watching film, being like, does this actually tell the right story about this player? Was he actually that good? Was he better than what the stat says? Was he worse than what the stat says? So that's the biggest thing. You always got to contextualize it.
Yeah, and I've said that before on our reviews, Nania. I do appreciate that you're a stats guy, but you also look into the film, and I definitely think you've grown a lot in the last couple of years in film too. So that's important, because if you were just a stats guy, I would probably hate you and I wouldn't bring you on here. I can't do just the stats. I think you would agree, even though you are a stats guy, if you had to take one thing over the other, film is more important than stats. Right. You know that, but combining film and stats is also really, really important as well. Love the honesty. Of course, we're always honest. We get a lot of shit for being honest. Again, people hated me for saying George Fant was good, and people hated me for saying what's his name was bad. Greg Dortch. Everybody loved Greg Dortch. The guy sucked. He sucked in college. Jets gang says Fant is playing. Okay, that's good. He had the best block of his Jets career on his screen to Carter this week. Andrew Golden said. Who?
I think he's talking about Van Rotten. I think.
Oh, to the right. Yeah, he had a good block. And then ABT's block with that Barrios touchdown was elite. Like it doesn't get better than that.
Can you pull it up?
A lot of
because I honestly can't think of what you're talking about, but I want to see it. If you're talking, if you're saying it's that good, I want to see it.
Okay.
Please. I don't ask you to do that too much.
You have to give me a second though, so you have to help me out here. Okay. The one thing I will say about this play though, before pulling it up. People, when they're watching this play, did say that, Chuma Edoga blew this block based on the way that ABT was like really light on his inside foot. I don't think it was a blown assignment by Chuma Edoga, because there's plenty of pass blocking concepts where it's a slide from the left guard to the right tackle, and as I say, like the backside tackle is like the Gilligan or on an island. Mm-hmm. And that's what it looked like because AVT on this play.
I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, he jumps inside. He's super, super light on his right foot, just punches with his right, and then gets to his left. And people are like, oh, Chumadoga blew his block. I think AVT knew that, and they knew that before the play even happened because it was an alignment where they had 6-on-5.
Yeah. By the way, this was an amazing throw by White too.
Oh, dude, fading back. It was ridiculous. But
maybe the best throw of the game, honestly, from him.
Yeah,
I think so. The other one was the rollout to Moore to the left. That's probably the other candidate for me. That one or this one.
That and the fact that you guys have been watching Jets football for obviously a couple of years now. Like how many Jets teams in the past would get a call like the Colt touchdown called back and then score a touchdown 2 plays later after that? I not many Jets teams of my past. So
no, absolutely not.
But people said that they thought Udoka blew this block. I don't think that's the case. They're aligning 5-on-6 and they had to guess. And I think they again slid right, island on the backside, and just a way that Vera Tucker's super light on that right foot. Like he wasn't fully like committing to that block inside. It looks like he knew the situation that he was going to try to pick up 2 guys, and he did. Like again, slowing up the inside guy just enough, and then just getting his hand on enough to push him kind of past his arc and falling down. Like if people are like, oh, Udoka blew it. I don't think so. And
yeah, I think you're right. And I'm curious. And again, I'm just posing a question. I do not know the answer. In a situation like this, like, how is the coaching staff coaching this? When they see a look like this, what are they telling the guard to do in this situation? And how much of this is just AVT thinking like, okay, I know it's coming. What am I going to do on my own? And like, it's kind of like football instincts and stuff. And let's say that Van Rotten was the guard here. We know he's a smart dude. He went to Ivy League school. Mm-hmm. Is he going to know to do this? Is he going to do this on his own? And like, I think with AVT, like he does kind of have like this kind of like football IQ awareness thing. It's something that you can't, it's something that doesn't always pop up in a classroom setting or whatever, but some people are just football smart. And I think you see a lot of that with AVT. So,
is Beckton back this season? Beckton? I think you're about Beckton. Yeah, he should be back in a couple of games. Okay. He corrected himself. When are we expecting Beckton back, Nania?
I think this would be the 8th week that he would miss.
And they said 6 to 8 weeks, right?
Based on his tweets, it seems like it's going to be soon.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before. I don't love his social media stuff. It's a little bit annoying sometimes. Like some of the stuff he posts. I know it's like the old guy get off my lawn stuff, but he's a little bit annoying on social media for me. I don't. He doesn't like him coming in being a massive guy who plows over guys. Like he should really be like one of my favorite players, but like just based on how he acts, like a little bit childish to me.
I think a little bit. Some of that I think is a little bit of insecurity, and sometimes some people need to kind of gas themselves up. Yeah. To because they feel a little insecure. And I think Richard Sherman kind of had a lot of that too.
Uptown NYC. I don't know if I just said this. Jets official Twitter just tweeted George Fant is active. That is massive for this game. LDT is a right guard. Yes.
And yes, I am calling him Van Rotten on purpose. I know it's Van Roten, but
somebody's asked I think somebody in the chat. I'm not sure if you're being serious. I'm not going to say your name because of that. Somebody's asking why don't we let the AVT trade up? We're being if you can't sense sarcasm there, it is what it is. John Abraham was our last great pass rusher. Our last great pass rusher was Carl Lawson. He got injured in the offseason. I'm really still sulking with Carl Lawson. So this is a conversation. I hear a lot of people talk about it, and it's more when I'm on the streams with Jets Talk 24/7. A lot of people want an edge rusher really early. I think there's a lot bigger needs, and it depends on where you're at. Like, okay, if what's his name, Hutchinson is really high and he's a great pass rusher, grab him because like you want to grab those like premium positions. You know, the pass rushers, the left tackles, the right tackles, the quarterbacks early. I get that, but a lot of people are saying they really prefer an edge rusher early. It depends on how good they are because they have a lot bigger needs than edge rusher in the draft in general. Like Linderbaum, Kenyon Green, like center, guard, tight end, linebacker, safety, corner. Those are all positions I'd rather take over edge rusher if everything's equal in this draft. So, Nania, what are your thoughts about the kind of the fans want with getting another edge rusher, because if you add Carl Lawson to this group, let's say you re-sign Shaq Lawson as a depth guy, you get Huff back. Zuniga could be a guy who gets 2 sacks a year as a role player. Like, do you really think we need an edge rusher? Like, where does it kind of fall on your list of priority for the offseason?
Yeah, I agree with you. It surprises me when I see people talk about edge as a top need. And like you said, if there's a value there, then go for it. But Carl Lawson's going to be back. I think Huff showed he can be a good starter. You can bring back Shaq Lawson, who they'll probably cut off of his deal that he signed to. We could bring him back. You have Zuniga, who had 1 play. Now he's good. But, they have some pieces there. And I think there are much bigger needs.
Hold on. You say Shaq Lawson had 1 play. Now he's good?
Oh, no, Zuniga, I'm talking.
Oh, Zuniga. Okay.
Zuniga makes 1 sack. Now he can turn into something. It was a great play. But,
hey, he's better than Vernon Golston already.
He's better than Vernon Golston. He's better than Ja'Kai Polite. So he's making some progress, moving up the stack list. But yeah, like, I think there are a lot bigger needs than edge when you consider Carl Lawson coming back.
In the chat, I'm trying to get to the chat. I keep getting like almost like there, and then I'm 10 minutes behind again. Just getting the conversation. People talking about Game of Thrones. Yes, Game of Thrones. Keep moving forward. Joe Blow, I did notice that Bengals have the right tackle help with tight end against Zuniga. I was shocked watching the replay. 22, did you notice it too? I don't think it's necessarily just targeted towards Zuniga. It's just their base play when they come out, and whoever's there they block. I don't think it's something where they target Zuniga singularly. But the thing that the Pats do that a lot, by the way, too. If you notice that they've both of their tight ends or receivers or whoever it is chip the ends, and then they double team the inside. It's a really interesting concept they do with a lot of passing with their passing concepts. Keep going on. Socrates, Mike White. Moving on. I'm trying to see if anything. People are talking about Odell. Odell deserves to be back in MetLife. This is one thing I brought up in the review. Not in terms of Odell coming back to the Jets, because that'd be or not back to the Jets, but coming to the Jets, that'd be a terrible idea. But people talking about that catch from Cole, again, always be honest. That Cole catch was not even nearly as good as the Odell catch. Kyle, have any thoughts on that? Because people are saying, "Oh, that's better than Odell Beckham's catch." Let's pump the brakes a little bit.
I'm pretty guilty of that. I am exaggerating.
Oh, no, I honestly didn't know you tweeted that, Nani, because
Odell was getting legit pass interference and still caught it.
He was getting pass interference. He caught the ball all the way extended behind his head with 3 fingers. It was completely different than, and the catch from Cole was great. People are like, "Oh, that's better than Odell's catch." Green glasses. Odell's catch was one of the best catches we've seen in the last decade. Kyle, thoughts?
But yeah, no, I agree with you. And I love Keelan, man. He's so funny, man. Easily the funnest Jet. Dude, they need to let him do press conferences every week, man, because, you want to talk about bringing players back and stuff. He's another player I'd like to see back, especially with the uncertainty of Crowder's future and stuff.
Yeah.
So, did you have another question for me? But yeah, you're completely right about the Odell catch versus the Keelan
I'm just moving on. That
was a great catch though by Keelan, and it was definitely more of a catch by Keelan than that T. Higgins catch.
Oh well, if they didn't rule the Cole catch a catch, then how do they rule the Berrios catch a catch? Like the thing I ask for is consistency. That's all I want. Even though the rules are stupid in terms of like control it through the ground, all that shit, whatever, pass interference, the roughing the passer. Even though I don't like them, I'm okay with it as long as there's consistency. But the problem with the NFL and the refereeing is there's no consistency from call to call. That's the thing that bothers people the most.
Yeah, and especially like, okay, I can understand with like a penalty, like you can't like review a penalty, but like, especially when you can review a play for minutes and minutes and minutes and minutes, and then like literally you have almost back-to-back plays, and there's a bit of inconsistency there. That's a head scratch.
So I don't know what they're enforcing, kind of. Ali says, I think when it's all said and done, Kenyon Green might maybe better than Linderbaum. What say you? I don't know. I haven't watched enough to know that, so I'm not gonna say that. Are you related to the Washington kicker? No, our last names are spelled differently, but yes, I do root for Chris Blewett, of course. Kyle, funniest isn't a word, man. Come on, Kyle, your response.
Funnest. Apparently I said funnest.
Oh, funnest.
Hey, well, so he's obviously getting on me because I got on Yoshi about Yoshi's spelling. Hey, listen, everybody makes a mistake. I said mistakes, but Yoshi was repeatedly making that mistake.
Okay, so as long as you never say funnest again. Moving on, we talked about the offensive
What's
line.
constructive criticism?
We talked
That's
about
good.
the quarterback. We talked about the offensive coordinator. Moving on to the offense, we didn't talk about the tight ends. No, I'm kidding. We didn't. Croft.
By the way, Croft, dude, he was in that block he had on Mike Carter's first touchdown.
The best person on that play was Croft. 100%. He tossed the DB.
Yeah, man.
And then he had the same play he had against the Packers. That one step stick nod, really nice. And again, I think that Croft is a okay number 2. As a number 1, you don't want him, but if they were to bring him back next year, and then let's say they sign who's a big tight end free agent. I don't think there's a lot, but Dallas Goedert and Croft is your 2. More comfortable with it. Croft is your number 1, which is one thing I will criticize Douglas over. Is Croft being your number 1, especially in a 12 heavy personnel system. But I like Croft, just not as a starter. But I guess we can hit tight ends and let's hit receivers too. What do you guys think about the tight ends and the receivers? We'll hit running backs in a second. We'll go to Nania first.
Yeah, for the tight ends, I feel like this was Croft's best game. Obviously, he caught the touchdown, but I feel like his blocking was back up to what we saw in his Bills and Bengals career, because he hasn't been up to his usual level, but in this game he was, so that was big. And then the receivers, talked about Moore a little bit. He was great. You saw what he can do with the ball in his hands. In terms of the rest of the receivers, Crowder, it's great to still have him around. A lot of people have been trying to get rid of him for weeks and since last year, but he just keeps continuing to be a reliable weapon, which is huge for a young quarterback in Wilson, huge for your backup quarterback in White. So I think skill positions are very good overall. And Keelan Cole continues he's been making catches like that his whole career. He made one just like that against the Patriots when he's with the Jaguars. So he has a knack for making those catches. But less, like we said earlier, I think less Jeff Smith. Just give those snaps to Elijah Moore. I mean, see why you need to go 5 deep with Jeff Smith just to get him out there. Not really worth it. But great game for the receivers.
Kyle?
Yeah, so in terms of tight ends real quick, one thing that came to mind when I was watching film is, we're a good 7-8 games into the season now. Oh, here we go. Yeah, this is a good one.
Yeah.
And obviously LaFleur he keeps going heavy 12 personnel, even though clearly we don't really have the appropriate personnel for it. And by the way, just think about that Joe Douglas press conference. Joe Douglas said, quote, "I love the receivers room." So I gotta be, and here's the interesting thing about front office GM versus coaching. Obviously it's ideal when they're working really well together, but you have to be wondering, Joe Douglas, he has to be at least somewhat annoyed that they're going so much heavy 12 personnel, being that he loves the receiver room so much. He built the receiver room. Mm-hmm. And they're still playing Ryan Griffin so much. So anyway, but while I was watching film earlier today, I was thinking like, okay, there's a very good chance Mike LaFleur is going to be back here next year. I cannot see him getting a head coaching gig, and I can't see him getting fired either. So he's going to be back next year.
Yeah.
No,
it was so funny
it's funny because
before the season, it was he might get hired after this year. Like we really got to worry about that. Now it's does he keep his job?
Exactly, and I don't see either happening. He's going to be back.
I see him being back. No, he'll be back if he's in the freaking booth. And so there's some people talking about like, oh, Zach Wilson should have been in the booth with him. Zach Wilson was in the booth with him. So that's a positive. He's seeing why he calls plays, what he sees, etc. But continue, Kyle.
Yeah. So obviously 12 is going to be a big thing. I think moving forward with us. So if that's the case, given Croft's injury history, which we always knew was a big concern, and the fact that, we really don't have a good second option at all. This is something you've emphasized a lot. Tight end has to be a huge priority in the offseason. Huge priority. So that's that.
Guard 1, tight end 2.
Okay. In terms of receivers this past week, this definitely was Elijah Moore's best game. And it's crazy that we still haven't seen him make like a big downfield catch yet. in terms of like a bomb, but we're going to see it eventually, man.
Yeah.
That catch, it should have been a catch this week if it wasn't a hold and a missed throw. It's a catch. Like, what is a big catch? Is it better to make a contested catch?
No,
I'm saying that's the flashy catch, but him burning a guy because he ran such a good route and having 10 yards of separation is even better to me. Like process versus results type shit again.
By the way, I love this play from him this past week where they were in. I don't have the exact play off the top of my head, but they were in some type of like bunch set to the left, and Elijah Moore stems outside, and the corner that's guarding him, he also is working to get outside, but Elijah Moore like leans into him, makes contact, and definitely kind of throws him off a bit, and Elijah Moore gets inside. But then the catch with the hands, the transition to the run after the catch, that was college Elijah Moore. I love that so much about his game, how quickly and effortlessly he reaches out. He's got short arms, but he attacks balls. He catches the ball, he tucks it in, and then yards after catch right there. And we were talking about Elijah Moore. We were criticizing him last week for slipping a couple times.
Yeah.
Dude, he could have easily slipped on a play like that where you're making that much contact with a defensive back, but there was no hesitation. There was no slipping or anything like that there. So
who was that last week, Kyle, who said that he doesn't get open in the NFL yet?
Somebody in the chat.
Because him burning a corner open by 10 yards for a touchdown. He doesn't get open. He's not a good receiver. He's a bust. Get rid of him. I'm liking Tony G in here. Agrees with me one time, agrees with me another time. I keep seeing Agree Joe from Tony G. Tony G is my guy. I like Tony G.
Tony G.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of Mims from a route running standpoint? Because we know he had to drop touchdown, make a couple catches. What do you guys see route running?
So it's interesting. Like when I do, for me personally, like when I do full game reviews, I'm looking for what kind of stands out than watching every player individually, because that would take me forever. I know the one route that he ran on a slant, I thought he could have ran it a lot better. Where he had a nice contested catch, but I wanted to see him be a little bit more like forceful and use his body instead of his hands. Like he squared up and was a little bit lackadaisical with that route. Could have been much better. There's another route where he ran a curl or a stop, which aren't really different to me. Curl, you attack it a little bit more. And he was a little bit high, but he still got out really quick, like kind of like Baylor stuff where you saw the natural ability, but his technique wasn't necessarily following it. So I was okay with Mims. And then the play where he dropped the touchdown, he had the over route. And if Johnson just let him, it would have been an easy touchdown. But he like worked back to the ball, like awkwardly, kind of like, it looked like he almost like tripped.
He still should have caught it, but you put that more on Johnson than you do him.
Yeah. And yeah, it was just like an awkward spot. Like he didn't know how to adjust to it because he didn't expect it. But Kyle, and I know you watch all the reviews. I don't know if you remember specifically the review I did of Joyner when I absolutely shitted on the couple of Rams who like didn't chase down a running back or a receiver, like absolutely went off on those guys in the Super Bowl. This week, and I gushed over. I'm not going to do it again because I want to recreate what I already did for whatever. The play where he ran down the interception from Bates. I gushed over Mims that play for a good 5 minutes because that shows.
You mean more, right?
No, Mims. More too, but Mims even more than more.
Oh, okay.
Did you not see Mims in that play?
I'm sure I did, but it's not standing out to me as much as more.
He showed absolute maximum effort completely across the field and was running full sprint for 50 yards to get that guy.
He had such a good block this game. I believe it was on a safety, and I'm forgetting the exact run concept it was too.
Did you see Cole's block where he put a DN on his ass?
Yes, I did see that, and like he got a little bit of help from the tackle, right?
Not a lot, but yeah.
But that's the thing about Cole is Cole's an effort blocker, right? Like he's obviously scrawny as hell, but he's not afraid to stick his nose in there. He might not have the best technique and stuff too, but receivers. So you're asking questions about receivers blocking. And again, so Mike White, 405 passing yards and stuff too. Well, yeah, it's a lot easier to get 405 passing yards when your guys are breaking tackles and people are blocking well and stuff too this game. And receivers did a really good job blocking. And let's also give credit to the coaching staff too. You're not running a dumbass screen where you're asking Elijah Moore to block on an absurd angle where he's working against the flow of the play.
Mm-hmm.
Play this through.
Just by the way, this is for the people who aren't familiar, like they didn't watch this again on film or whatever, Moore makes a tackle. This is the pick right here. This is Mims. So yes, Moore made the tackle, but Mims, his effort here for a guy who is a low effort player, all this shit, this is the play that minus whatever catch he made, whatever touchdown he dropped, whatever touchdown he might have caught in this game. Obviously he didn't, but I'm saying if he did catch touchdowns, this play for a coach shows more than any play he could have made in terms of a catch. The effort here is absolutely fantastic for Mims. That is
and for all the jerk offs, trade Mims for fourth, and he's yours.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now I see why you gushed.
Yeah. It's dude, like the effort there, like
Joe,
look at where he is when that ball is picked.
Joe, when you were in high school, did your coaches make you guys do pursuit drills?
Yeah.
In practice?
I mean, the angles.
And there's a reason why you do that shit in practice.
The best angle you could possibly take.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one. Moving on to the running backs.
Hold on. So Michael asked a question that I didn't get a chance to answer.
Okay.
He was asking about Mims in terms of route running. So here's one thing too, and Joe, I think you would agree with this, but if you don't, please let me know.
Nope.
So Mims definitely, in terms of his college tape, a lot more of his like really impressive routes and stuff came when he was defeating press because he has big body and stuff. But we're not seeing him against a lot of press coverage so far this year. And part of it is A, he's not playing a lot, and B, the way he's deployed and stuff. And surprisingly, the Jets actually play him a decent amount in the slot too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, in terms of route running, like, I don't want to say he gets lazy sometimes when he's running routes against zone and stuff, but sometimes I wonder if he knows the proper ways to settle down in zones and stuff too. So, I can't say that in terms of route running, he's really impressed me so far yet this year.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, that's that. But I do love Mims though.
I love the accountability. Vincent here says is saying it was CD that said he does not get open. Love the accountability right there, Vincent. that is great.
Oh yeah,
he knows exactly who it was who said he couldn't run routes. He wasn't getting open.
Eagles here now. Eagles.
Yeah, Eagles. Yeah, Eagles here now. I like Keelan Cole. He should be back next year. And then
by the way, I'm pissed that Eagle took Jamar Chase in our fantasy league right before I was about to scoop up Jamar Chase.
Continuing, talk about receivers, and I'll throw to Nania first. Keelan Cole, do you re-sign him? Same thing with Crowder. We talked about this last week too, but Crowder is so reliable. And listen, he's old, but he's what? He's gonna be 29 next year. Right? Like he still has another 2-3 years of being a solid football player.
He's old-ish.
Keelan Cole is a more well-rounded receiver in terms of he can play outside and inside, but in terms of him in the slot, Crowder's better. So like, do you look to re-sign both? If you only had one, who do you re-sign? Like, what are you looking at in terms of the receiver situation with those two guys? Because obviously, Mims is going to be here, Moore is going to be here, Davis is going to be here. But with those two guys, like, kind of, what are you looking at?
In terms of who I'd rather have, I think I'd definitely go with Crowder. I think he's just proven that he can play at a quality level as a starter, whereas Cole's more so been a background guy throughout most of his career. But both of them do offer value. With Cole, it's just the versatility to play any different role. He doesn't necessarily have any special traits. I would say his contested catch, his knack for those acrobatic catches, probably his best trait. But he does a lot of things well, not that much great. So I think that's what you want in a backup, a guy who can do a lot of different things. So I think they both offer really good value. This is a good 5-man unit. It really is. They don't have, unless Davis can prove he can be it, which I think he can, they don't necessarily have that superstar guy to lead the unit.
Yeah.
As of right now, but Moore could also be that. But in terms of having 5 guys who check a lot of different boxes in terms of different skills, can play different positions, it really is a good unit. So I would definitely consider bringing both those guys back. And it depends on, is there another free agent that becomes available that they like? What do they do in the draft? But I would definitely not have any problems with running it back with that same 5.
Yeah, they're lacking like the star number 1, but in terms of the depth of this unit, it's deeper than a lot of groups out there. Like that's almost more than every other group. Like let's say Mims is the 5, and Mims is kind of an awkward conversation because we don't really know where he is. But let's say Cole is number 5. Is there a lot more number 5s in the league that are better than Cole? I can't think of. Well, obviously I can't think of one off the top of my head that you have to know every freaking receiver in the NFL. But like, He's one of the best, if not the best number 5s in the entire league. And Nani, you said you like Crowder more than Cole. So same question to you, Kyle. Would you re-sign both of them if you only had one? Who would you sign?
That's tough. That's a very, very tough question. And I would say, let's see how the rest of the season plays out before you make that decision. It's kind of like a QB competition in training camp, or any competition in camp for that matter, because, let's see. And by the way, Mike White is still kind of finding his groove with calling plays and figuring out personnel groupings and stuff. Here's one thing. Okay. So I almost want to say, if it's Crowder versus Cole, you become a little bit more predictable, because, next year, you got to be playing Elijah Moore a lot more than you've played him this year. And with Moore, you can play him in the slot or play him on the outside, but you don't want to play Crowder on the outside. But with Cole, you could put in the slot or you could put on the outside, and the same thing for Moore. So I almost feel like when you have Cole and Moore on the field at the same time, your offense becomes less predictable for the defense, which is a plus. But in terms of just a straight receiver, like if I got to take someone in the slot, Cole versus Crowder, I'm definitely taking Crowder.
Oh,
no doubt about it.
Undeniable, yeah.
And the other thing you got to consider too is price tag. That definitely has to be a factor too. If one guy's going to command like a decent amount more of money, then you might want to go with the cheaper one. So, what would
did you actually answer the question? Did you actually answer the question, or did you dance around? I said let it.
I definitely danced around it for sure.
You danced around like a politician.
No. Yes, even.
So answer the question.
Maybe I should run for office. Okay. I'll say Cole.
Well, it depends. Oh, Cole, is that because of age too?
No, I said Cole, and it goes back to the versatility thing that I just said.
Okay, that's fine.
It's not mostly about age and stuff. No.
Vincent says hi. What's up?
Wait, can we give a West Coast Jets shout out for the super chat?
Why do you think the offense played so much harder for White versus Wilson?
That must be some type of headline that he read from some beat reporter, or that he heard on ESPN radio. Or
so if the team was getting blown out 54-20 or whatever, like the Pats or whatever the score was, I know it was 41 points in the end, but I'm not doing math right now, 13-54, they wouldn't be playing hard either. Look at the Titans game. Were they not playing hard for Wilson? Like they were playing plenty hard in the Titans game. So when you're winning, you're going to notice more energy. So they weren't playing harder for him versus Wilson. It's just they won the game, so that's not a thing. But I appreciate the super chat. Why are the Colts picked to win? Because I think they're a better roster, and they have competed with some good teams. And people had expectations of the Colts this year to be a wild card type team competing for the AFC West, North, South. Okay, yeah, South. Sometimes I suck with divisions and what exactly they are, but. Nani, you got that full kit. He ready? I don't know what that means. What's the full kit? What's your full kit, Nani? I don't know what that means.
His hat, his jersey,
memorabilia. Yeah, he is ready. Yeah. Do you have Jets pants on, Nani? That's the question.
I do not, but I do have black sweatpants to match the uniform.
Okay. Wow. The white and the black. I appreciate it. Wow. I appreciate it. Dancing like McAuliffe the other night, so cringed. Kyle, you laugh. What the fuck does that mean?
He's talking about the guy who lost the Virginia governor race.
Oh, okay. We punting down by 50. Griffin was actually blocking a fish effectively, which he kept up, but doubtful. He's been blocking better at times this year than he typically has.
Yeah, he definitely had a couple like this. Griffin, in terms of blocking, he stood out as his most positive game in that department this year. We have 26 minutes left. I want to transition to defense because we want to get to the defense. We want to get to the linebackers, the corners, the safeties, and then get to the Colts game quickly again for the third time. Jets win. I will be streaming after 11:30, whatever time that's going to be. I don't got work tomorrow, so if they win, I'll be on with you. If you do 4 hours though, and you're ordering McDonald's and shit, I might have to call it in early.
Give me a couple minutes because I have to set up the stream and all that stuff after or whatever, or really Sabo does because he knows how to do it. If they're competitive, I might do it. I don't know about Kyle. I don't know about Nania. I don't know. I might do it. We'll figure it out. If it's a good game, they lose by a field goal, I'll still be excited, to be completely honest. Just like the Bengals game, like last week, even though they're down by 11, I was like, they're going to lose by double digits. This is a much different game than in past games where they've lost by double digits. So I was actually I was much more happy with the Bengals game than losing by 11 than the Falcons game. Completely different to me. So,
by the way, people in the chat who watched me and Blewett's last stream, it's a good thing he didn't bet me, right?
Oh,
they're getting blown out by at least
Kyle,
21.
you're one of those guys who has like a notebook of everything that you've like beat me on, and you just bring it out at random times. I gotta start taking freaking notes with you.
But hey, I'm honest though. Like I admit when you beat me, beat me in things. You beat me in pool, right? Thanks to Robbie Sabo.
I also so this is the conversation. I'm the Zach Wilson of the Robbie Sabo and me pool tandem, where he's the Mike White. He's really consistent. But he never made that skip jump ball thing that I did.
I can attest to that. That was impressive.
So just saying, I
didn't jump. He made that shot, but how many balls completely went off the table too?
Dude, okay, Kyle. You know what?
It's like Zach Wilson dirt in the pass on a screen.
Exactly. I'm saying I'm Zach Wilson.
I get the analogy.
Okay,
I get it.
Good.
And you also kicked my ass in fantasy too. I'll give you that too. So
kicked your ass in fantasy. Okay. You also admitted to the JFM versus whatever thing the last couple of weeks, which you argued me on, which you were completely wrong about.
I'll be you in foosball too, so I got that receipt.
Dude, Nania's good at foosball. I will test that. Nania and so we are very transparent with this. That night I was very, very drunk. So your hand-eye coordination is not the best, but to my memory, Nania was very good. But you got to understand, I was a lot deep. So.
By the way, did you see Verge's recent comment?
Lol, Kyle will never let Joe live down not liking the chase pick.
And by the way, Verge, notice how Joe, every time I bring that up, he didn't even want to talk about it.
One time. That was last week. I didn't bring it up because we had more important things to do. But I'm not going to talk about it again. I want to avoid it. We have 23 minutes left. I want to talk about the front seven.
Hey, Assassin, I kicked your ass too by 80 fucking points.
I got smoked in the league this week. So the fat tires are flowing. I have to break the seal, but Kyle, we'll start with you because you can talk a lot. Defensive front seven. What did you think about it in this game? And then we'll transition to the secondary, and then we'll go to the game with the Colts.
So you're talking about the Bengals game, right?
Bengals game. Yep.
Okay. So the biggest thing that stood out is the linebackers, man. There is such a huge difference with this linebacker play versus Sherwood and Cashman and, Delshon Phillips. Gerard Davis, I guess he kind of stood out in a more positive way, but CJ Mosley, man, the difference with him in the lineup versus him not being in the lineup and just, getting guys in the right calls and knowing what gaps to fit and stuff. Dude's really, really, really good. And just so much of the subtle things where, he's sugaring the gaps and then he drops off into coverage and he really, really, really good player. Nani, so I would say in terms of defensive line play, they played okay, but I think the linebackers was the big difference in this game. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Mosley. And obviously part of it is just not having great backups, but the impact of Mosley on the field versus off is enormous. And part of it is what he can do lining guys up. Part of it is just how flat out good he is in terms of, like you said, that one play he made on the opening drive of the game where he was over the A gap, he dropped back, stopped the tight end inches short of the first down marker. That was an amazing play. Then he made a great stop on the goal line. The goal line stop after that. So he was everywhere.
Dude, Nani, do you know what play I'm talking about? If I'm not mistaken, I don't have it recorded or anything, and Joe Blewett doesn't like to give me a screen sharing powers either. But
look at that, Kyle's still talking. I guarantee you.
No, Nani was talking too. All right.
Okay, I was like, oh.
So, Joe, am I right about this? Nani, am I right about this? I think the Bengals ran some type of toss play to Mixon, and they had two guys pulling out. They had two guys pulling outside.
Marcus
No. Well, May was in on the play too, but Mosley got outside both those guys. I think it was a tackle, and he dipped under him and made the tackle on Mixon. And then I think May or Gerard Davis, one of those guys hit Mixon while he was up in the air. But Mosley made the fucking play, man. Dude, the nimbleness of him to run outside and then bend to get around the tackle so he couldn't block him, and then still hit Mixon low. That was an extremely impressive play, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Did everyone notice with Kyle, when he's either making a point or thinking, he always has to close his eyes or close one eye?
Because I'm trying to picture in my mind
when he was doing this. What is it? So the thing with Mosley though, this game, and obviously he makes a couple of good plays. I actually think this is one of his, and he gets guys lined up. This is one of his worst games of the games he's played. He had a couple of plays which weren't great to me. 3 in particular, or no, maybe 2, maybe just 2. The one on the goal line where he made that tackle, Quincy Williams had to point out to him like, "Hey, that's your guy, the number 2." And he got out there late, so that was kind of odd. And then the play that I brought up to Nania in the Slack. The play, what was it, 3rd and 15, and he tried to strip the tight end instead of just making the tackle. He makes the tackle. It's a punt, and it was late in the game too. It was like 5 minutes left or whatever it was. The all 22 doesn't have the freaking time and all that shit on it, which is really bothers me. But he tried to strip the ball instead of just making the tackle and making him punt, and then the tight end got the extra 3 or 4 yards, which really bothered me. So I think Mosley was good this game. But people said he was elite this game. He actually struggled more than, I'm trying to think, probably every other game this week or this year. I can't think of any other game that he played worse than this, from an individual level. I can't really put it together. But that, and then I'm not sure what you guys said about the defensive line. Q was fine. Again, he's been a little bit quiet to be elite for me this year, regardless of whatever says. But he's been a little bit. Is
that another argument that I've been winning so far?
He's been a little bit slow this year. JFM slow. Fadokasi solid. Shaq Lawson obviously made 2 huge plays with the one PD and the 1 PD for interception. Zuniga fine. So the defense line was solid. I think still for what they're getting paid, that JFM was a little bit quiet. Q had a nice sack, but minus that, I still think he needs to make more splashy plays for what he's going to be asked to get paid. Jared Davis, he was better than Quincy Williams and some of the other guys out there, but Jared Davis made a couple of bad plays too. People talk about him like he was great this game. He really wasn't. But with that being said, he hasn't played it in how long? This is his first game.
But if we're comparing it to what we saw last week,
we're comparing it to our 6-string linebacker and was it Break Glassman? People call him.
That's the first time I've heard that.
You ever heard Break Glassman? No. All right. Well, there he is.
That is funny, but yeah, it's a night and day difference though between that and what we saw last week.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, even when CJ Mosley does have a not so great game, there's still some really special moments and stuff. And then there's all the other stuff where you credit him for what he's doing from the mental standpoint. Okay. I didn't notice what you said about when Quincy. That's actually alarming if Quincy's going to have to point out that you're actually doing something wrong.
What time in the game was that? Was that early or when was that?
Oh, I don't know. I'm saying I didn't notice that, but you.
He did have that really, really good play though, where I think it was a tag rush and he dropped into a hole or a rat, whatever you want to call it. I don't give a shit. And he saved a 3rd down play. That was the first drive. That was a really nice play. But he had a few bad plays. Almost blown coverage ? You can clearly see communication between Quincy and Mo's right here. 2 guys outside, and he kind of realizes oh shit, there's 2 guys out there, and Mo's oh fuck, okay, I'll jump out there. See that the last second, okay, yeah. A little bit sketchy. And I also don't like how he's such heavy inside leverage right there, versus number 2, because again, if this is timed up well and the ball is thrown there, and he doesn't take those extra couple steps, maybe he could have got in, and nonetheless, it was still too close. So I would like to see better alignment.
By the way, they could have called Davis for a hold here too.
Because tell me that Mosley knew he was supposed to be lined up here before the snap.
No, he definitely.
Or does Quincy say, "Hey, get over there," right there. So yeah, Mosley was good this game, but again, what's the difference between and I love Mosley and Kyle. I was one of those people in the offseason, you can attest for it, saying I think he's still gonna be a top 10 inside linebacker this year. But what is the difference? And I think people exaggerate like how good he is at times because they see Mosley versus Cashman, Mosley versus Delshawn Phillips, a practice squad player, versus Mosley versus an average, middle linebacker. But take it. Somebody take it. I don't know. We have to transition to secondary, but I kind of just said a lot of nothing.
I mean, I didn't really talk about the pass rush while you weren't here. I think the pass rush the last couple of games has been an issue. I think so. I don't think they're not even up to their own capabilities. I just think it's been quiet overall the last couple of games. I think they need to do a lot more.
Well, coming from 7 sacks versus the Titans to what they've done in the last couple of weeks, it's definitely been a disappointment.
We definitely missed Bryce Huff this past game, and we're going to miss him tonight. And I know that 2 games,
next 3 weeks, we're going to miss him. Yeah.
It was a little hard to get a pass rush against the Patriots for sure, being the way they game plan, and the Falcons for that matter. But Bryce Huff has definitely done some damage as an edge rusher this year. And, we had opportunities, there was definitely a lot of times where Burrow held on the ball for a while and, they had a little bit too much time, and definitely not having Huff there was an issue. So I hope his injury's not too serious.
Golden says if a win stream happens, we need a rant on the new Game Pass format. So basically, just long story short, I asked Nani what it was like. He kind of said it was shit. I didn't like the sound of it. So I still use VTors. So I don't know what it even is because it sounds like complete shit.
That's funny that you even said that. Dude, I tried it for like 2 seconds and it was so horrible. And that's not how I've been watching film either. The new Game Pass. That's just amazing that you literally take months to supposedly make it better or whatever.
And it's so much worse.
And then you literally don't have it out for the start of the season. And it is way worse.
What needed to be fixed? The last one was perfect. It was the high view. It was the end zone view. It showed you the time. It showed you who got a penalty.
It definitely wasn't perfect because one of the
best things about that, and the thing I've been struggling with that is okay. So let's say it's 13 minutes and 6 seconds left in the third quarter. I can click from coach's film to broadcast and then watch the same play and then show the play in film version and then also show like the Keelan Cole catch. And I said it specifically in my review, I would have shown the broadcast angle of the whole catch and the bobble and all that stuff. But I'm not doing this now where I can watch it and then in another window have to find that exact play in that broadcast. I'm not doing it. It just takes way too much time.
Yeah. And this is something we can talk about off air too, but I got to figure out a different way to watch coaches film than what I'm currently doing. And I'll figure that out because this is such a pain in the ass.
Yeah, the all 22 sucks. And for your Lee says we need Green Bean in this chat. Green Bean was in the last couple of chats. He's not here tonight though. So Green Bean, what the hell, man? I know he jumped in here a couple times.
I know who Green Bean is, but I've never noticed him in the chat.
He was in here the last at least 2 or 3. I know at least Nani and I was in here for the last 2 or 3. Maybe he doesn't like you, Kyle, and he just likes Nani when Nani is on.
No, that makes sense.
Maybe you never know. Moving on to the secondary, Hall, Eccles, Michael Carter II, Guidry, Marcus May, Ashton Davis. Let's hit those in the next 5 minutes. We'll talk about the Colts game. And then again, jumping off at 8. I was considering streaming for the game, but I can't do it. But if we do come back for a victory stream, there will be many that have flown and it'll be interesting. But Kyle, no, Nania first. We'll do Nania. Secondary, what'd you think?
Yeah, it was a nice game considering the competition. I do think, and I'm kind of guilty of it because I've pumped up their numbers a lot, but Bryce Hall didn't face Jamar Chase a ton in this game. When he did, he was pretty good. Yeah. He had that deflection in the end zone. Chase dropped a touchdown against Eccles. Eccles had the bad hold against them. He gave up the other touchdown. So I don't think it was necessarily amazing, but just considering how explosive Chase and the Bengals have been in recent weeks, I mean, he had over 200 yards last game. It was good by those standards, but it definitely wasn't perfect. But in terms of Eccles against Chase, but I think Hall had a good game. The touchdown was a hard one to stop because it was a scramble drill. The other catch he gave up was the throw to Higgins. I believe it was Higgins. Which
wasn't a catch, but people also said that's the best way you can possibly play that. But he should have played through the receiver the entire time. He kind of got lost the last second, and he tried to look to the ball, not through the receiver, and he kind of got lost. So he definitely could have played the ball better. But again, if receivers have to make that type of catch to make a catch on him, I'm okay with it. Just like Eccles. Eccles should have got beat for one touchdown, right? He should have got beat for another one versus Chase. But you have to consider like the situation, like where he was drafted, the matchup. Like you're looking at a 5'10" guy who's like 190 versus Jamar Chase, who is right now, based on statistics, one of the better receivers in the NFL, who both times to me he was beat, got clearly pushed off of Eccles. So like, yes, he gave up two plays, but he was also pushed off, and considering the matchup where they were drafted, just their actual physical characteristics against each other. Eccles played well, Hall played well. Michael Carter got beat, I think, once, but overall he played a really good game. And then I think the corners played really, really well. Safety struggled to me a lot more than the corners did. The corners were a plus.
Ashton Davis had a couple real big brain farts, like that one Mixon receiving touchdown. Ashton Davis needs to recognize that a lot quicker. He had a brain fart. He was looking. He bit really hard looking in for a run.
Yeah, and I said that in the review, Kyle, because the Pats did the same thing. They do it a lot, where they align like 3-by-1 with a tight split from the one, and then the running back, and they run a lot of picks with the isolated, and then run the running back out. And the Pats did that to the Jets last week. Same type of look against the Bengals, and he didn't recognize it, and then he got beat because he got outflanked to the sideline. If there's one thing, do not get outflanked to the sideline, because if you do make them cut in, there's going to be that pursuit obviously coming from the inside. So he didn't play well. People did blame that deep bomb on Davis, but that was May. May gave up that bomb to T. Higgins, right? Like the 40-yard play. People automatically like, oh no, that was Ashton Davis. That was much more May than it was Ashton Davis, just based on the coverage. So,
and it was a good call at the right time too, against right coverage. It was kind of just one of those things where sometimes those things happen. Sometimes when you call the right play against a certain kind of defense, it just works well. In terms of what you said about, I'm going to try to address a couple of the different players. All right. So the one play that Michael pointed out about where Hall had the pass deflection, what was interesting to me about that play is Hall didn't play that play. Initially, he had bad technique, but what's impressive about the pass deflection is how quickly he recovered. Which when you think of Bryce,
which play are you talking about?
The pass deflection in the end zone. You know what I'm talking about?
I think so. I'm trying to remember when that was.
If you watch that play again,
the next play is when Hall gave up the touchdown or two.
Okay. Yeah. So if we're talking about the same play,
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure we are. Hall plays with poor technique. I think he opens his gate too much or whatever, and Chase has got him beat by a decent amount, but Hall catches up pretty quick, which to me, that was kind of impressive, because when I think of Bryce Hall, I don't think of acceleration, quickness. I think of a long, aggressive, smart type of dude who he's got to use his length to stay on a guy all the way through. Let's see.
This should be the player talking about.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was interesting to me. I was a little surprised when seeing that play. Eccles, he definitely struggles with technique, but you could tell the dude plays hard. He plays aggressive.
Athleticism is plus.
He has a really good makeup speed.
Yeah.
So there are things to like with him too. Definitely. Carter II is a stud. He continues to impress me in run support.
On the deep bomb on the left sideline, where he got on top of it, collected it. Really good grab.
I think I know what you're talking about too.
It's already pulled up. I'm just sharing my screen right here. Yep. But this is the play that Nani is talking about. This is why it's good to watch the film.
Wait, can you start it over?
Can I start it over?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good play. There are some things that I'm sure you'll notice, Kyle, that I'll
yeah, you're certainly going to nitpick it a little bit for sure.
I'm going to nitpick it. I do. But in general, it's a good play. But yeah, I nitpick that.
So you're going to say that he should shuffle a little bit more rather than opening as early
now,
as he did.
And I did preface that with saying he tends to full step and drop his hands. And there is a difference between your relation to with the formation. Like if you are going to be outside a little bit more, like this far outside the numbers, you do have a little bit more flexibility to open a little bit earlier, because if he does take your outside hip when you open it up, then you're going to be able to squeeze into the sideline. So yes, he does open up, but it's not as bad when you're this wide. I do mention that. But,
and if I can add my 2 cents in that too, when an offense is lining up on the far hash, which is the case here in this play, and you're a corner, and so divider rules in the NFL is 0-4. And so the bottom of the numbers right here. So like if the receiver's outside the numbers when you're on the far hash, you're not going to you cannot expect inside help from a safety. So the sideline is your help, but at the same time, you cannot get beat deep, because you cannot expect safety help in this situation. So you must get over the top. So you can't get beat deep. So you can open up a little bit earlier too, which I think kind of hits on what you were talking about.
Yeah, this is the play too. We're talking about like May, and it's not a good play by May, and like go over this a lot. Again, this is not like the film review type thing that we do on this, a particular platform, or not platform, but instance, I guess. There's a 4-hour film review I do of this game, but May does not play that well, and people.
Which, by the way, so the people who are new, the 4-hour film review, what's Joe talking about? JetsXFactor.com, guys, subscribe. You can get your first month free.
Yes,
$50 for the year.
And instead of just,
you will get a ton of content, and you will learn a lot more from this than you will from Bart Scott or Stephen A. Smith or.
Stephen A. Smith, thanks,
dude. No, dude, I say
Bart Scott is Stephen A. Smith.
Listen to me. You'd be surprised how many people think Stephen A. Smith actually knows what he's talking about.
Dude, a complete jackass.
What do you think about what Stephen A. Smith? I don't give a shit what Stephen A. Smith said, but people do. So go ahead, make your But by the way,
I'm just saying this is a bad play by May. In the film review, you'll figure out why. I go into exactly why that's a bad play by May. But this is May. This is not Ashton Davis, and on this, because this is cover 4. But moving on to because we have 3 minutes left. I don't have to be strict with that, but there is a person to be showing up at my door, aka Vinny, in 2 seconds with beer and probably food. But so with that, Nania. I feel like I always talk to Kyle, and Nani's kind of Nani is more like the in the shadows type guy who just observes. So I like to throw it to Nania first. Colts game, thoughts, score. I know sometimes you don't give scores, sometimes you do. So if you want to give a score, cool. If not, all right. But general feelings on this game before we close out.
Yeah, I mean, this feels like a really big game, just in terms of the future of the team, or the short-term future of the team. What's going to happen at quarterback? Can they maintain the momentum that they built up with that last win against the Bengals? Because that's what a Thursday night game does. It takes whatever you did last week and it maximizes it. You either got a chance to build on that momentum or completely lose it in 4 days, or turn around a loss or perpetuate. So they got a chance to completely turn the season around in a 4-day span, 5-day span. And then with the quarterback situation, huge. Tonight is going to be huge in terms of determining what happens next. So it's pretty high stakes. It feels like it's big in a lot of different ways. I don't think they're going to win. I think the Colts are a better team. They struggle on the road, but I feel like they will keep it competitive, though. Although that's not a great prediction to make, because they usually get blown out when they lose. They don't lose a lot of close games. But I kind of feel like this will be a close loss.
We have a Colts fan who said the Colts favor to win by 20, and then he's saying the Colts win 60-10. So it's obviously either a dumb Jets fan or a Colts fan. We have a Bib who says Colts 31-13. We have Assassin, who always talks a lot of shit, who says 23-21. but doesn't give the team who's going to win or lose. So that's just Assassin. Like sometimes he's just an idiot. It is what it is. I love Assassin, but he says 23-21. No team who wins. We have 27.
Well, he probably told you who's.
He said he just said he told me he was smoking before this. So I'm sure he's high right now. So he doesn't even know what he's talking about. We have 27-21 Colts with a 31-24 Colts. We have another team who says the Colts. See you guys after the post game show. So Chris is positive that's gonna be a competitive game or a win. This game will tell me everything. So yeah, for me, like I think if I had to put my house on it, the Colts win a close game, like 21 or 24-21. I made my official prediction where I said the Jets will win. And like Nani said, like teams of past teams or even just teams of this year, the Jets after a big win are going to come out and really disappoint. Jets teams on the road are going to disappoint. Teams of past, Jets on prime time, they disappoint generally. So them winning this game or them being competitive in this game will show me a lot. So house on it, Jets lose. Me, a couple beers deep, Jets win 27-24. Kyle, what is your final prediction?
I'll say 23-20 Jets. Part of that's being a little bit of a homer, but I don't know. I don't think the Colts are that good, and I've never liked Carson Wentz. But then again, would I take Carson Wentz over Mike White? I guess. So, but I'm saying 23-20 Jets. I like what Michael said about these Colts corners missing tackles and not being very good, and I like our receiving core. So there you go.
Yeah, we
Momentum.
have
there you go.
Friggle D 30-26. We have Stephen A. Smith should stick to basketball. He doesn't know shit about football. I don't think he knows that much about basketball, too.
Yeah, he definitely knows. He definitely knows more about basketball, but
I listened to some of his basketball takes. I'm like, dude, you're
play basketball, but he doesn't know about the sport.
Yeah, I should replace Stephen A. I do not want to replace Stephen A. because then again, he probably makes some good money.
Mike makes a lot of money. He makes a lot of money.
He expects to be disappointed, but I want to be proven wrong. Same. Obey the Colts to shit the bed last week after leading 14-0. Peace, Yoshi. Okay. I will see you guys hopefully post-stream. Again, if they get blown out, I will not be here. Win, guarantee I'll be here. 11:30-ish. If it's competitive, I can't guarantee it, but just watch your YouTube notifications.
If they get blown out, Joe Blewett's going to send me some passive-aggressive texts.
I don't think I'm passive-aggressive. I think it's just aggressive.
Aggressive. There you go.
Aggressive. Kyle, any last words for the stream? And will you be here post game if they win or if they're competitive?
If they win, for sure. Competitive, maybe.
Any last words? That's all you got to say?
Yeah, you never. Well, actually, you did ask me who's going to win. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the game. This is our only primetime game this year, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So enjoy it. You know, primetime games for us over recent years have been pretty ugly. We tend to get embarrassed on national TV. Let's hope that doesn't happen.
It's a little bit disappointing too, because like the Jets win a big game, like you want a full week to enjoy it. We get 4 days. If they lose, it's like shit, you know, like now we didn't get the whole week to enjoy a big win. Nania, last words for the streamers.
I do have last words. That's actually something substantive. If we do win, here's one thing I'm not looking forward to. It's going to further that narrative that Mike White should actually be the quarterback for the future.
Oh my God. Dropping a bomb like that to end the stream.
I'm sorry. I don't want to hear that shit. I'm sorry.
Okay. Kyle, you shouldn't have, I shouldn't have asked for your last words. If that's going to be your last words. Nania.
Yeah. I mean, let's just try to have fun. I mean, depends on what they do, but only primetime game of the year. Got some momentum. They have a chance to do something, I think, really franchise changing tonight. All the stuff you talked about, Joe. Primetime game. Can you maintain momentum? Can you win on the road? All this stuff. I think if you can win this game, they can really get on the path to doing what they set out to do this season in terms of just development, changing the culture, all that stuff. I think you have a chance to really accomplish that tonight. So it's a big game.
And I hope to see you guys all post stream. Like even after the Falcons game, like I was praying that they won so I could talk to you guys post stream. They win this, I'm gonna be so goddamn excited to talk to you guys after. It's just we've been hurt a lot in the past, and it's so funny. Like at work, like you have really shitty days. I had some shitty situations at work this week, the whole time, like, I don't give a fuck. The Jets won last week. Like, I'm just so happy. Like, the whole week, I'm just, I cannot imagine.
It's an unhealthy relationship to be this way.
I just cannot imagine being that happy all the time. Like, can you imagine the Jets were like 5-2 right now? Like, how happy we would all be. Like, we wouldn't give a shit about anything.
You wouldn't be that happy. Think about how spoiled those Patriots fans were over recent years, and any little loss or anything like that.
Kyle, I know what pain is like. If they just were 5-2 right now, trust me, I'll be like,
you'd be happier, but don't act like you'd be fucking sunshine and kisses. And
yes, I would. They are 2-5 right now. They just beat the Bengals, and I was happier than fly on shit the whole week. So
the standards are low. Once you're good, expectations go up. One loss,
and that's what I'm trying to say.
You know what? Let's not get into a deep conversation right now. They win. We're all gonna be freaking ecstatic for a week and a half. I will see you guys.
Wait, quick question, Joe. How loud does the stadium get since you've been there?
Not loud. It was not loud. They're not like crazy fans like we are. But I will see you guys in about 3.5 hours, because the Jets are going to win. Okay. All right.
Adios. I'm down with it. All right. Peace. Nice talking to you guys. And thanks for tuning in.